Frankly, I am dying, but TXT waits for no man. Let's start with the obvious. I am ill. I am unwell. I caught a flu at work that knocked me out like very few diseases have. I've taken 3 COVID tests because I'm so sure that's what this is. It's not. They're all negative. It's just the flu. And frankly, I feel like I have grounds for a lawsuit. I know who came in sick. This feels like germ warfare. But we rally. We rally for TXT. And on the topic of TXT, we must also address, this is not our first rodeo of this manner. I made a history of TXT back in 2023, and it's good. Again, this is like when I remade the outro one. Like, I'm not proud of it, but like, I've made so many more of these, and now I feel like I have a better grasp on what I'm doing when I make these. And now that I have remade the outro one, the floodgates are open. But like, I am also so excited. I love this group. I love their music. I love their dynamics. I promise to go on a very normal number of tirades about Subin and Bumgyu, and by that I mean a normal number of tirades for me. And we will get to that. We will get to Sugyu. We will get to Blue Hour. We will get to me seeing TXT live. We'll get to all of that momentarily. First though, I have to give my shoutouts. I have to give credit where credit is due. First, Smokey Glow. Smokey Glow, former/current YouTuber, unclear on her status. I don't know anymore. She has/had made evolution of videos, which are what inspired me. That's why she's here. She's the reason I wanted to make deep dives. I know they're not like her concept originally, but like she was my inspiration. So her evolution of playlist and her channel will be in the description. Number 2 is The Bestie. The Bestie gets a lot of credit for this video in the sole sense that I wasn't gonna be a TXT stan, and then she sat me down and made me watch one of their shows, and here we are. Here we are 60 pages and 23,000 words later. So The Bestie gets a shout out for that. The Bestie gets a shout out for being my ride or die, for listening to me rant non-stop about whatever group I'm making a video on, even when she doesn't care. She does admittedly care about this one, but like, even when she does not care, she lets me rant. And we love that. She's also the reason there's a slideshow. That's reason number 3 she's here. She sat me down, and by sat me down, I mean we were sitting down watching the Grammys a couple years ago now. And I was making my history of Miss A, and she was like, you should make it a slideshow. And I was like, Bestie, you're so right, you're so real, and here we are. Number 3 is Bean. I've been a bad friend to Bean lately. I haven't talked to Bean in a while. But like, that's still my number 1, that's still my ride or die. Like, Bean is the only reason I can make long videos. If you like the fact that these videos are getting longer and longer and longer, say thank you to Bean. Bean is the only reason that I've entered this new realm of psychosis that I put myself in every month for you people. It's all because of Bean. Last thing before we begin is, of course, my disclaimers. I can't be normal about this group, right? Like, no matter how hard I try, I will never be able to be normal about these boys and be normal about this group. So I can't expect any of you to be normal about these boys and be normal about this group. So I'm covering my bases. None of them are scary, but we are going to do this. Item 1 is something that you might have already caught on to, which is that I call them TXT. Okay, I'm very aware that they are legally Tomorrow by Together. I know that. Okay, I'm very aware of this information, except for the fact that that's a fucking mouthful. That's a lot of words to have to say if every time I'm like, Tomorrow by Together, then did this. Tomorrow by Together, then dropped their first album. This is my favorite Tomorrow by Together song. That's so many words. That's so many words. They're TXT. It's short. It's sweet. It has confused people on this channel for years. And I don't know how, because like, how else do you read those 3 letters? You see those 3 letters, that's TXT. That's TXT. They're TXT. Item number 2. We hate HYBE. We hate HYBE in this house, okay? I know there's a lot of people that love that demon company, and you're all wrong. Every single one of you is wrong. We hate them with a burning rage. If you're woke, if you have any sentience, really, you're gonna hate that company. I hate them with an indescribable level of rage. Give me a gun and Bang Shi-hyuk in the room. I don't care how much money he offers to pay me. Only one of us is walking out. Okay? I can't stand them. So when I start saying things down the line, Like, HYBE executives can choke and die. I'm understating my true feelings on the situation. Item number 3, I'm not covering everything. I say this in every single video, every single deep dive will come with the disclaimer that I'm not covering everything. And then, like, at least 1 in 3 videos will have a comment that's like, you forgot to mention this one really obscure stage they did, like when they were at this festival and they did this cover, and it's really important to you, but like it's not really important to me. So I'm not covering it. I cover what I want to cover in these videos, okay? I cover important things. Like, obviously I'm going to cover every mainline album, right? I'm not going to cover every, like, random side release because I can't be bothered. That's not why we're here. We're here for what I deem relevant, which does unfortunately mean we're going to talk about a lot of bullshit that no one but me cares about, and we all have to be okay with that. Item number 4 are opinions at times. I am unfortunately very aware. So here's the thing. Whenever I make these videos, I do end up on the sphere of Twitter for the group I'm discussing. Admittedly, for this one, I'm on TXT Twitter anyway. I've been there. I see Bum You on my timeline probably every day. So, like, I'm already there. But I do become aware that when I have an opinion, specifically in one of my more recent videos, I had an opinion that ended up going minorly viral on that group's Twitter, and everyone was hating on me for it. So, like, please just know these are my opinions. I don't care if you hate me. To be clear, my mental health is not going to be dependent on strangers on the internet. I'm a 27-year-old man. But, like, I will share my opinions. TXT has a lot of songs that I love. Right? Like, TXT has some songs that I genuinely think are some of the best pop songs released this decade. I do firmly believe that for some of their releases. They also have some songs that I'm going to call the worst things ever made, and we have to know that both of those things can exist, and you can have the complete opposite opinions, because it's music and it's not that deep. Alrighty then, that's that. We've covered opinions. We can now begin the members section. And we're going back to the classic. We're going back to the posters. I've listed out 5 of my many TXT posters. What era is this from? I believe this is from, Minisode 3. This is Minisode 3 era TXT. I do have the member versions, don't forget that, which meant that I got all the posters. I did think about, for what it's worth, I did think about doing this as, like, let me get, like, the big posters, like, because I have big posters, I think, for 3 of them. I don't have one for Subin, and I don't have one for Kai that I could find, but I have, like, full-size posters for the others, so I thought about doing it where, like, a full-size poster of each member, and I would, like, switch them out in between. These are the ones that I have all 5 of, that I found really quickly, and I do actually really like them. I think the aesthetics on these are really nice. So these are the ones we're doing. They're in age order to pretend I'm unbiased, although I do think I've made my stances pretty clear. Also, before we begin, TXT officially has no positions. Like, there's no official main vocal of TXT. I know who the main vocal is, though. I know who the main vocal is. I know who the lead dancer is. I know what their positions are, and I'm gonna share them. Because I'm always right. If you think I'm wrong, you're wrong. I'm always right, and it's my video, so I'm right. Either way, starting us off is Choi Yeonjun. Yeonjun was born on September 13th, 1999, and by my estimation is our main dancer, main rapper, and I do believe his faves would tell you he's the lead vocal, and his faves are wrong. He's a sub-vocal. He is also absolutely the face of the group. He might not have been when they debuted, but now he absolutely is. That is the most famous man of this group, if not the most famous male idol of 4th generation as a whole. Some Yeonjun fun facts. He used to be a Cube trainee. That's very fun for him. And he has said his favorite dog breed is Corgis. That is factually correct, mind you. I love Corgis so bad. I would love to have one, except I already have a perfect little boy, and he is a toy poodle. Yeonjun is also an English speaker within the group. He lived in San Jose for a couple of years, which I will get to, but, like, you can kind of tell that he grew up around annoying rich people. Moving on, next we have Subin. Subin does actually have an official position. He is the official leader of TXT, and he was born on December 5th, 2000. And per my estimation, he's also going to be the lead vocal and lead dancer. I do remember TXT was doing something. My instinct is to say it was when they were with puppies. Don't quote me on that, because I did not rewatch it for this video. But I feel like it was a video, I know this happened, where Taehyun was talking about Subin, And he was like, I wish I could do falsetto like Subin. And Subin does have a nice falsetto. He has a lot of lines. That's our lead vocal. On top of that, Subin is, or at least was, close with Changmin of The Boys. More on that later, potentially. Also, when he auditioned for HYBE, he thought he fucked up so bad that he didn't get in. So on his way home, he bought a bunch of ice cream to eat to make himself feel better. And that's a fucking mood. Subin is also quite possibly the greatest Kara stan to grace this earth. Okay, Subin has said publicly, mind you, he's said this in official broadcast television, that one of his biggest inspirations to become an idol was Kara, because he wanted to become so famous that when he talks about Kara, the girls are going to listen to him. I love that for him. I do admittedly already ride hard for Kara. I have since before Subin debuted, but like he's real as fuck for that. Also, Subin is the bestie's fave. That's the bestie's boy. So I did ask her what her number one fun fact for Subin would be. She admittedly gave me some I've already mentioned. So I'm going to now read you the one that we agreed on together. Okay, are you ready? Went viral on gay Korean Reddit equivalent for eating a snack hornily and homosexually. Do with that which you will. Speaking of the bestie and speaking of Subin being the bestie's fave, Subin apparently is a corrector. By which I mean, if his friends text him something and there's a typo in it, he will point it out, which is something the bestie did to me quite literally yesterday. So I'm glad they're kindred spirits. Oh god, it's time. It's time. It's time for my boy, for my son, and my best friend, Tread Bumgyu. Bumgyu was born on March 13th, 2001, and is, by my estimation, our other lead dancer, and probably sub-vocal. Bumgyu is also realistically the center, by which I mean he's in the middle a lot for their choreography, and more importantly, Kai called him the center at one point. So yeah, my boy is the center. You can all be jealous unless you are a fellow Bumgyu shooter. I love how I said I'm gonna go in age order to be unbiased. And then I referred to Bumgyu as my boy 4 times in 90 seconds. Anyway, let's have some fun facts for my boy now. First, he refuses to eat tomatoes. I love that for him. I am the same. He also can play the guitar, which I personally find quite slay. On top of that, Bumgyu is our little social butterfly. I'm going to read you a list of his friends because it's a lot. Okay, are we ready? First, he is friends with Hyungseop and Eung from Tempest, Heesung formerly of HYBE, Jimin of Just Be. He was in a band with Jaeyoon of TO12. They were in a band when they were a kid. He has so many friends. That's my little social boy. Actually, can we talk about Bumgyu as a child for a second? Can we talk about Bumgyu as a student? I would also now like to read you a list of roles Bumgyu had when he was in school. Are you ready? Okay. He was class president, class vice president, school vice president, and hall monitor. I want us all to close our eyes for a minute. Okay, close your eyes. I'm going to paint you a little scene. I want you to imagine that you're like 17, okay? And you're skipping class. You're a little bad boy. Okay, there's a little bad boy roaming the halls. Say he's like tall, dark, brooding, the classic type of bad boy, okay? We're roaming the halls. He bumps into the hall monitor, and the hall monitor is lispy little twink Choi Bumgyu. That's how a BL starts. We need to move on before I start talking about how Bumgyu wasn't born yesterday. Kang Taehyun. Taehyun was born on February 5th, 2002, and is absolutely the easiest position to guess within TXT. That's our main vocal. Actually, Taehyun's birthday is February 5th, 2002, as I just said. Park Jisung of NCT's birthday is February 5th, 2002. And in my first history of for TXT, I said that I wanted those two to post a picture together for their birthday. And I regret to inform the masses that as far as I'm aware, they haven't done so, which is so stupid. Put them in a room together and take a picture and just save it for 6 months. My god. On a more positive note, let's talk about some of Taehyun's fun facts now. Okay, first, he hates mint chocolate chip ice cream. Diabolical stance. Insane stance cannot be respected. He also sleeps with his eyes open. Are we sure Taehyun is not Satan? Also, I think this is funny. Taehyun said he was a hard child to raise because he was curious. I've babysat enough kids. I know that's code for annoying as fuck. And you know what? We respect the self-awareness. I myself have thanked my mother for not choking me out as a child. On the topic of Taehyun as a child, though, Taehyun has a fascinating history, by which I mean he started a bunch of educational videos as a child. I've seen some of them. They are my favorite pieces of TXT pre-debut content. It's not even kind of close. He was so cute. And last but not least, Hyunning Kai. He was born on August 14th, 2002, and per my estimations, is definitely our lead rapper. I want to say he's probably our lead vocal, but I might be blinded. He might be our sub-vocal. Kai has also lived an interesting life, by which I mean he's lived in interesting places. He was born in Hawaii, however, he left there when he was still a baby to move to China. He lived in China till he was about 8, then he moved to Korea. On the topic of Kai's childhood and family, though, let's talk about his family. Let's talk about how he comes from a musical family. Kai's father, of course, is a singer. He released an album. Kai's older sister was in the girl group Viva, and his younger sister, as we know, is in Kepler. Kai also has excellent taste, by which I mean he has listed otters and penguins amongst his favorite animals. Both taste, both respectable answers. He also can play 4 instruments, I believe, which, like, I thought Bum You playing 1 was slay. Imagine how I feel about Kai playing 4. Also, this is very, very, very important. Kai has said publicly that if he were a girl, he would date Subin. More on this later. However, that's it. I hope you enjoyed these posters. I actually really like having them on the wall. I kind of want to leave them up for a bit. I might leave them up for a bit. I might not take them down right away. I might leave them up. But for now, back to the timeline. We can now officially begin talking about the history of TXT. Welcome back. Now, so TXT may have debuted in 2019, but TXT was the follow-up to BTS, right? Like, once Bangtan blew up in 2015, people were clamoring for a follow-up group, and there were reports of a follow-up group starting way back in like 2017, 2016. And on January 10th, the masses' prayers were answered because we got our first pre-debut teaser for TXT. This was Yeonjun's individual teaser. This was followed by Subin, then Kai, then Taehyun, lastly Bumgyu on the 20th, and then on the 23rd we got a group teaser. And these teasers did numbers on YouTube.com, okay? The most viewed is, unsurprisingly, Yeonjun's. It has 18 million views. I've done deep dives for, like, 4th, 5th gen groups that would kill to get 18 million views on a mainline music video, let alone on, like, a pre-debut trailer for one of the members. This was followed by a round of questioning trailers, a lot of questioning involved in TXT, but these did less numbers. Okay, they didn't go as crazy. Subin still has 5 million views, though. Like, they still did extremely strong numbers for a pre-debut group. I will also say, I did watch back all of these teasers. It's frankly an evil experience. Don't do that to yourself. Not for, like, content-based reasons. They're all relatively inoffensive. But in the sense of, like, they look like babies. They were babies! They were such little guys. Like, put them back in school. Let's move on. Let's fast forward to March 4th, 2019, when we got this. This is the Dream Chapter Star. This is the debut album from TXT. Actually, pause. Before I set this up, can we talk about the names for TXT albums for like 5 seconds? I don't know who it was in the HYBE boardroom that was like, every TXT album needs the longest name known to mankind. TXT has some Lana Del Rey-ass album titles in their career, and like, it's evil. Both for like, video making purposes. For the record, I'm not gonna full name most of their albums, okay? The Dream Chapter Star is such a mouthful. It's like how they're Tomorrow by Together and I call them TXT. I will call this album Star in my day-to-day life. Frankly, I refer to most TXT albums by their title track. That's something I don't do. Like, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, like, the Crown album, the Runaway album. I don't usually do that. Like, when I talk about, like, a New Jeans album, I'll full name the album. The Get Up EP, the OMG single, right? Like, for TXT, I usually do, because these names are so long. And it makes it really, really hard to make a slideshow about them when, like, half of the slide has to be just the name of the album. Now that we've cleared that up, let's talk about Crown, TXT's debut single. And it's one of the best debuts in K-pop, I'm gonna say that. Crown is so perfect. It's just a synthy, fun, cute dance pop song that restored probably about 10% of my faith in humanity when it came out. The song opens, and right away you know you're in for an amazing experience, and you're right. This song is amazing. The verses are great. Cringy rap in the second verse included. I also love the pre-chorus. The bridge is great too, but the pre-chorus has this like rapturous experience that flows perfectly into the chorus. And speaking of the chorus, that's pop perfection right there. It's so fun and it's so catchy. It worms its way into your head and it will stay there for days and you'd never think to complain. You're busy jamming along in your own head to one of the best K-pop debuts ever. And I do mean that. Like, obviously, I am biased. I'm sitting here with 23,000 words of notes about this group. I'm not going to do that if I don't care about them. I love TXT. But, like, I didn't love TXT when they debuted, but I loved Crown when they debuted. Even before I was a TXT stan, I was a Crown supremacist, because you can't deny how good this song is. And, as the follow-up to BTS, we should not be surprised that this thing did numbers internationally. In its first 24 hours, the music video for Crown pulled in 14 million views. A record at the time, if you were wondering. And as of now, the two versions of this music video combined have about 215 million. And that's just the music video itself, right? Like the audio track, dance practices, over 20 million apiece. Unlicensed lyric videos, also over 20 million. Like, we're talking diabolical numbers on YouTube.com. As for Spotify, Crown has nearly 200 million streams over there as well, making it to this day one of the most streamed debuts from a K-pop group, and especially among boy groups that don't pull in as crazy numbers, this is very close to the top. Basically, between YouTube and Spotify alone, we're talking over 500 million streams on your debut. Like, that's a crazy thing to do. Domestic numbers are a bit more complicated, so before I get into them, I want to give you the context that 4th gen boy groups chart like absolute shit, okay? I've said this in other videos before, but like, I feel the need to reiterate that a 4th gen boy group has never had a top 10 on the Melon charts, okay? Like, to this day, never had a top 10 on the Melon charts. They barely can chart on the Melon charts. TXT is essentially the sole exception of a group from 4th gen, like a 4th gen boy group, that can consistently get their songs on the Melon charts. Down charts are more complicated because they're not real anymore. But for the Melon chart specifically, which is the one that I like to focus on more, it's just everyone else charts like shit, so I need you to understand that when I say shit like TXT made it to like number 93 on the Melon charts, that's better than all of their competition. So with that said, Crown did peak at number 93 on the Melon charts and number 85 on the Gaon charts. This is back when they were canon. I'll let you know when they stopped being canon. But for now, Gaon charts are canon. Number 93 on the Melon charts, 85 on the Gaon charts. Again, not crazy numbers, like girl groups can easily outdo this, but amongst 4th gen boy groups, this is one of the biggest debuts domestically. It also did pretty well on music shows. Just like with charting, 4th gen boy groups are kind of shit at pulling in like large numbers of wins for their songs. This one got 3 pretty strong. Now, I've been pointing out various areas where 4th gen boy groups are bad at things, and I haven't really mentioned that the area they make up for it in is album sales. 4th gen boy groups by far pull in the best album sales. So let's talk about the album sales for their debut. The Dream Chapter Star would debut atop the Gaon album charts, earning TXT their first #1 album, and selling 150,000 copies by the end of March, making it the best-selling album for that entire month, in spite of fierce competition from other much more established artists. By the end of 2019, this was the 26th highest-selling album released that year. It had about 200,000 copies sold, but it's gone way up since then. Current sales are sitting at about 500,000, earning TXT their first double platinum certification. Now, let's talk about the B-sides on this album, because this is a good fucking album. The album opens with Blue Orangeade. This is more just TXT excellence right here. It's another fun, dancey pop song, phenomenal chorus, great synths. It's very much an embodiment in a way of like what you can expect from early TXT music, which makes sense. This is their first song on their first album, but I do feel like it really sets the tone for what we could expect from them for the next couple years. But not only do we have a goated opener, we have a goated closer with Nap of the Star. This is our ballad for the album, and it's really nice. Like, it's just chill, soft vocals, ethereal vocals even. Like, nice guitar. It's a perfect come down from the rest of the album. Now you might be wondering, if you haven't heard this album in a while and you haven't looked at the track list, you might be like, Simon, why do we need a come down? And I would like to direct your attention up one song to one, Cat and Dog. Cat and Dog is a lot, and I mean that in a couple ways. For starters, it's a trap song. You're gonna notice this is a trend about me. I don't like trap music, okay? I like a lot of music. I'm not big on trap. Whenever you'll get to a TXT album, there's like a 90% chance my least favorite song is gonna be the one that includes the trap elements, because it's on like all their albums. This is like the one exception, because I actually do think the song is really fun. I think it's messy as hell, and I don't think it's good as a song. Okay, like as a piece of music, it's not very good. As an experience, is genuinely a really fun time. I think this is the vibes that Cordes thinks they're giving. And then, last but not least, our golden B-side, Our Summer. Now, for those who are new here, if this is your first one of my history offs or your first one in a while, the golden B-side is the award that I made up, that I give to my favorite B-side on an album. Does not have to be the best. There's usually at least one album that I get to in my deep dives where like there's an objectively better song, but it's not my favorite. This is both my favorite and probably the best. Blue Orange could be the best song. It could be Blue Orange, but Our Summer is absolutely phenomenal. But let me give you another snippet into my mind. Okay, remember how I said 5 seconds ago that I hate when TXT makes trap music? Well, every once in a while, they like to make these dreamy, ethereal pop songs, and I love them. I'm feral for them, and that starts with this album, that starts with this song. The verses have this, like, airy quality to them that, frankly, does have me already a little bit crazy, but then you get it, like, to pick up just a little bit for the chorus, right? Like, the beat picks up a little bit, it gets just a little bit poppier, and I start losing every fiber of my mind. I love this song so much. I actually forgot how much I loved this song until I started working on this video and this song came on, and I had to start, like, physically restraining myself from throwing things. Anyway, that's TXT's debut album, and I want to make a comparison really quickly. I want to compare TXT to HYBE. I said in my HYBE deep dive, the thing that holds HYBE's debut album back from being one of my favorites of theirs now is that it's a lot of sounds they've done better in the future, and the same thing is true for TXT's debut. A lot of the sounds on here are sounds they're gonna really learn how to do in like 2, 3, 4 years, and then by now, they know how to make a masterful dreamy pop song, right? Like, one of the best I've ever heard. And it does, by comparison, make these feel less. But to start your debut with this level of quality is diabolical. However, we may be done with the music from TXT's debut era. We're not done with TXT's debut era, because now I get to talk about the litany of YouTube original content they were making. We've already established TXT was really big on YouTube, and they took full advantage of that. TXT has put out so much original content on YouTube. None of it's going to get a deep dive by any means, but I am going to briefly touch on a couple of the series as they launched with their debut. First, talk about today. This show does technically have seasons to its name. It has 6 seasons to be exact, conveniently aligned with the first 6 TXT albums. Each season also has about 6 episodes. This is a fun show though. It's mainly like comeback related behind the scenes content. It'll be stuff like album photo shoots, that kind of thing. I did watch one random episode from each season, and when one specifically that we'll get to later, but they're fun, they're good. Next, Tea Time. I don't even know how to describe this one, frankly. It's a lot. I feel like this is sort of their like catch-all for like content they want to put on YouTube but don't have anywhere else to put. So like you will get things like fan cams or like performances through Tea Time, and then the next second you're gonna get like TikTok material that they don't have anywhere else to really put, and it'll be in here, and then suddenly you're getting covers. Like you get pretty much a whole spectrum of experience. There's also 800 episodes, so like if you want to sit down and watch them all, you are a braver soul than I. This one is also still going, mind you. They still post these, at least as of me sitting here recording. The last one came out like a week ago, I think. I don't remember now. Oh god, it's the flu. The flu's getting to me. Anyway, it's still going. That's the point. The point is that it's still going, which makes the 800 episode hurdle even scarier to me, because then what if I do catch up? Like, what if I take a full day and I watch every Tea Time video, and then I forget about it for 6 months and I come back to another 100? I don't want to do that. Series number 3 is TXT episode. This one is a bit more focused, I would say. It's still a lot. Like, there's, I believe, 150 episodes, but, like, it's not as chaos. It's more locked in, from what I recall. I stopped watching it. This is the one that I used to, like, actually really focus with. Like, I would lock in. I've seen probably about 100 of these over the years. The longest ones, I think, like 30 minutes. Mostly they're 10 minutes. So, like, this is a much easier commitment. He says as he maths out in his head that even at 150 episodes at 10 minutes apiece, that's 1,500 minutes. But I've seen more of it. I can recommend this one more, like, confidently. This one's fun. Series number 4 is TT Line. This is our most focused. This is the most distilled behind-the-scenes content. It did come out a little later, but I'm doing their YouTube original content now. I'm putting it in here. This is also the smallest hurdle, mind you. It has like 50 episodes. It does cover most of their career. Last time I checked on it, they'd stopped using it like a year ago. But like, even so, if you want the most distilled TXT behind-the-scenes content from their career, go with this one. Okay, that's round 1 of TXT YouTube original content. We'll come back to some other shows they do in probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but for now, this is what you get. For now, though, I'm going to tell you about TXT's first tour. Just after Promotions for Crown ended, TXT would officially launch a showcase tour in the US. This was TXT's Star in Us tour, or Star in US tour. I have seen actual fights break out on the timeline over how to pronounce it. I call it Star in Us. It's the Star in Us tour. It ran for most of May of 2019, had 6 stops all across the US, and it all sold out in 24 hours. And, like, yeah, they weren't doing, like, the Climate Pledge Arena for, like, a Seattle reference. Like, they weren't doing the big venues, but they weren't not. Like, they still sold out in 24 hours. That's still very impressive to do right after your debut. The tour would also become the basis for TXT's first real show with One Dream, which aired on Mnet from June through August, and is also where I enter the picture. That is correct, as previously mentioned. The besties sat me down, forced me to watch TXT's show. This is the aforementioned show. It was the combination, if we're being honest, of the music actually being really good and the besties pestering. But we sat down, we watched this whole thing in one day, and here we are now. Here I am, 6 years later? 7 years later? 7-ish years later, and I'm making 23,000 words of notes about TXT. I will also say, I did think about rewatching this show for this video, and had I started this, like, project maybe a month earlier, I actually might have done it. I didn't, because I didn't have time, so I did not rewatch the entire show. However, based off my many-year-old memory, I remember 2 specific things about this show in detail. 1, Sumin got a sty. It was like a major plot point that Sumin got a sty. That man has endless eye issues. We'll be circling back to that momentarily. Second thing is that I saw Yeonjun and my instinctive reaction was to call him a twink. Either way, the show ran till August, which is when TXT was supposed to release their next album. Sumin got pink eye. In addition to the sty. This is unrelated from the sty. Sumin got pink eye. That boy in his damn eye. So they pushed the album to September. Then the rest of TXT got pink eye. So they pushed the album again, but it's fine, because on October 21st, we finally got the Dream Chapter Magic. TXT's first full album, of which I have both versions. And this album sold exceedingly well. It earned TXT their second #1 album and closed 2019 with about 200,000 sales. It's at just behind their debut on the year-end album charts. And just like their debut, it's gone on to more than double those sales. It's also sitting at over 500,000 copies, our second oldest TXT album to earn a double platinum certification. Then there's the lead single, Runaway, which, to my great dismay, is a drop from Crown in terms of numbers. Like, for starters, this didn't crack the top 100 of the Melon charts, and on the Gaon charts, it peaked to number 108. So, like, not awful, but not as strong. It also got less music show wins. It only got 1 win when it came out. I attribute this more to what came out around it. Specifically, Newest came out that same week, but they were still riding the post-101 hype to, like, goated digital, so, like, it makes sense. Thankfully, international numbers are a bit more stable. The music video has 133 million views, which feels like a bigger drop than it really is because there's 2 music videos for Crown. There's only 1 for this one. So like 133 million views is strong, plus Spotify's just as good, about 200 million streams. Basically, it is a drop, right? Like Runaway was not as big of a hit as Crown was, but it's not like it was a major failure either. Like it got strong digitals for a 4th gen boy group. It got good Spotify streams. Like this was still a hit, it just wasn't as big of a hit. And frankly, if I may be so bold, the public is wrong. The public has failed society as a whole because I love Crown. Okay, like I made it clear, I love Crown. And I love Runaway even more. Runaway opens with this really cool piano that I really love, and then you get the verses. And listen, I love the music in Crown. I do. But Runaway is where we first see like rock music starting to sneak its way in. And as we know, going forward, that becomes very relevant. But like, it makes the music fuck so much harder. Plus, this chorus is, dare I say, untouchable. It's amazing. Okay? It comes in 2 very distinct halves. Half 1, the first half, is this just explosion of pop music. It's dancey, it's catchy, it bangs, it's perfect. But don't think like it's just the chorus, right? Like, because the verses are also just as strong. The first verse is the perfect start to this song, and the second verse is admittedly messier, but it's still really good. The pre-chorus is also, dare I say, campy. Like, we're bibbidi-bobbidying it up in this house, and it flows so perfectly into the chorus. The bridge also works really well as, like, a little bit of a lull. It slows the song down really nicely. Like, here's the thing. Crown is amazing, right? Crown is a 9.5 song. It is an A+ material, and this is a 10 out of 10. But you know what else is fantastic? This album, as an album, the B-sides on here are really good, to the extent that I forgot how much I liked some of these songs. Let's start with the song that I like the least, okay? Poppin' Star. Poppin' Star to me feels like if bubblegum pop met trap beat music. And you might be like, Simon, you could say the exact same thing about Cat and Dog, and you're right. I could. But Cat and Dog is fun. Cat and Dog has whimsy to it. This lacks the whimsy needed to actually pull off the song, in my opinion. By comparison, Angel or Devil, the album's closer, this is less like trap, it's more classic hip-hop, but it still works, right? Like that melding of like pop music with classic hip-hop works so well in this song. I think this is better than Cat and Dog. However, I do think it still lacks a bit of the same level of whimsy. Like Cat and Dog is more fun, but Angel and Devil is a fantastic song. Moving our way up the track list, we have 20 Centimeters on Magic Island. These are our touches of R&B on this album. It's Tuck's first attempts, really, at R&B music, and they're nice. They're chill. Magic Island is the stronger one to me. I think that song is actually, like, genuinely excellent, but they're both good songs. Continuing up, Can't We Leave the Monster Alive? Remember when I was talking about dreamy Tuck's synth pop music? Say hello to our next installment, and I love it. I really do. It is not music for serious people, but it is really fun, and I do really like it. Continuing our way up, we have Roller Coaster. We've already talked about it, so we're going to skip it and go to Roller Coaster. I have a confession to make about Roller Coaster, okay? Here's the thing. Tux is a group that has a lot of songs I don't like, so I don't typically listen to their discography as a discography. I don't listen to a lot of their albums as albums. I listen to them as the songs that I have in my Apple Music. Roller Coaster, for whatever reason, never made it into my Apple Music, which means it slipped through the cracks. And that is a damn shame. Roller Coaster's so good, okay? It's synthy and dancey. The chorus itself is just like euphoric pop bliss. It's so good. I almost even made it my golden B-side. I was this close to making it my golden B-side. I think it's my fevered state. I think it's my lack of mental wellness in this moment, because I do think in like a month I'm going to be more normal about it, except for the fact that right now I've been listening to it constantly because I have to make up for the fact that I haven't been listening to it for 5 years. Instead, however, I'm going to give our golden B-side to the album's opener, New Rules. I need to be so honest right now. This is not a song that should work for me, okay? This is a song that defies logic, it defies reason. I should hate this song. maybe not hate it. Maybe I shouldn't hate it, because it is the funkiest thing we've gotten from them, and I say that with love, but I shouldn't love it as much as I do, right? Like, the sirens that randomly interject, the gross beat drop in the second verse, the overly repetitive first half of the chorus. These are not bugs, they are features. Like, yeah, I'm inclined to dislike an overly repetitive chorus. I've said this a million times. I don't like overly repetitive choruses. This is an exception. The music is really good, and the second half of the chorus is so excellent. And as for the sirens, they add flair. Okay, they're fun. Maybe that's just my thesis statement on this song. I can overlook a lot of things I should hate if the song itself is fun. I do, however, actually have, like, one real complaint about this song, which is the outro. I think we needed one more chorus. I think we needed just one more chorus. The way the song ends now feels like a smidge anticlimactic. We needed one more round of the chorus, even just the second half. We needed something to, like, give us a little bit of extra room to breathe. That's my thesis statement on this as well, is songs need to be fun, we needed a second chorus. As a whole, though, this is an amazing album to me, okay? I said it before, I forgot how good this album is. I've said many a time that Tux runs pop music for 4th gen boy groups. Like, there's groups that make really good pop music, groups like Onf, Onus, like, they exist out there, but I don't think there's any group that makes just, like, regular, straight up, what I would just call pop music in the way that Tux does, to such an excellent degree. This is the album that, to me, solidified them as, like, true pop icons. But that's kind of all I got for 2019. This album got delayed so much that by the time they were done promoting it, it was already time for regular year-end activities that bore me. The only thing I'll tell you is that Tux pretty much swept the Rookie Awards, but that's pretty much all they did of interest in December. Now, we've been here for a minute, and I think we need a break. I think we all need to take a second to breathe, to look back. You're gonna go have a little retrospective, and I'm gonna make more tea, because I'm out of tea. Alrighty, welcome to the retrospective corner. Now, for those who are new here, if you have not seen any of my history of, I just like to end every year with a little breather, a little break. We look back on the year. This is also the moment that I take as an excuse to talk about things that I didn't have a chance to work in earlier in the year. I talk more about, like, the evolution-y side of things. It's my video, okay? I can do whatever I want. And 2019 Tux was fantastic. They had emerged as one of the biggest groups to come out of 2019, and by extension, one of the biggest groups of 4th gen, especially once X1 essentially burst into flames and disappeared. They were the leading boy group. Like, yes, Stray Kids existed, but in 2019, Tux was clearing them across the board. However, in that vein, I want to point out one thing that I do need to mention, which is Tux's fan base. The early Tux fan base was heavily dominated just by generalized armies who were like, oh, it's the next BTS group, let's stan them now. Like, I remember when Runaway came out, someone insanely, I remember this tweet, was like, Runaway sucks and I don't like it, but I'm gonna stream it for BTS. I also want to talk about the music really quickly. Tux was technically experimenting, like, they were trying out a couple different genres, but as far as their titles went, these were firmly synth pop songs, right? Like, there's a reason why when you ask someone to think about what early Tux was like, they will tell you bright and cute. Even when that isn't the case, they're still gonna tell you that, and the 2019 singles are the biggest reason why. Like, these are bubblegum pop for boy groups. However, I do find this interesting because, like, that wasn't what the other groups were doing in 2019. In 2026 now, HYBE is essentially only good at copying what other people are doing, whether that be using LE SSERAFIM to essentially copy any popular female sound from the US, like just 6 months later, or using an entire group to copy Playboi Carti. That's what HYBE does now. And I think it's so interesting when you look back at Tux, essentially their second real debut, and they were doing the exact opposite. They were going against the trends. The trend of boy group music at the time was still darker. We were starting to come out of, like, the real dark sound, but it was still a lot darker, and Tux was debuting with the complete opposite. And thankfully, I, of course, know that Tux will never release anything that isn't bright pop music, so with that, let's go talk about 2020. But first, I want us to take a break to talk about a specific episode of Talk By Today. Now, I told you there was one episode that I watched intentionally, and I want to talk about it today. That was a bad pun, I'm so sorry, but it is specifically Talk By Today, Season 2, Episode 1, released on August 26th, 2019, and is Subin and Bumgyu's date to some athletic park or whatever. I would like to make it clear before we continue that I do not know these boys. Okay, I've never met these boys. I do not know the inner workings of their life, and I know that normies are boring and normal and don't like shipping idols, and I need them to understand that rule number 1 of RPF is that it doesn't matter. It's not real. It doesn't count. And rule number 2 is that it's the most important thing ever. So now pay attention as I yap. With that, we can now begin the video, and I would like to begin this moment by addressing the obvious. Bumgyu looks like a baby. He looks like a little guy. Subin looks young, but Bumgyu looks like a little baby. I want to put him in a terrarium and protect him from the horrors of the world. Also, this episode is just them doing random shit at this, like, athletic adventure park. So I'm just gonna give you the activities they did and my thoughts on them, because I have a lot of them. So first they do this, like, high ropes course type thing. It's indoors, though. Subin is crashing the fuck out. Subin's losing his mind. He's literally singing to himself to keep himself calm and normal. Bumgyu is giggling from across the room, making fun of him. He's such a gremlin. That's my child. After that, they do give Sugyu guns and take them to the shooting range. Subin is acid shooting originally. Bumgyu does need to do it for him. Like, he takes the gun and shoots. Like, yes, Subin does need his man to shoot a target for him. Bumgyu's also pretending to be like a little spy this whole time. I'm obsessed with him. Also, I said Subin is acid shooting at first. He does get the hang of it. He actually beats Bumgyu in the end, which is fun because he spends the next full minute mocking Bumgyu about it until Bumgyu slaps him on the ass. Moving on, their next adventure involves them putting on animal-themed helmets. Bumgyu, of course, chooses the bear, and then they climb up a rock wall. Subin moans the entire way up. We then get Jock Boys, which means they play basketball. I can say with confidence, okay, I did basketball for 2 years as a child when I was in middle school, which means I know what I'm talking about when I say that neither one of them knows what the fuck they're doing. And Bumgyu at least has, like, the confidence of someone who's handled a basketball a day in his life. Subin does not. I'm realizing I forgot to tell you who won things, and it's relevant now. So, Bumgyu won rock climbing, Subin won basketball. So Subin won 2 things, Bumgyu only won 1 thing, because I guess the high ropes didn't count, I don't remember. But Bumgyu bought the food, that's the point. The point is that Subin won more, Bumgyu bought the food. I'm so sure staff paid for the food. But either way, Subin yaps the whole time they're eating. That man is a certified yapper, never forget. Just you wait until we get to the Subin yapping variety hour. Back to this show, though, they then do VR baseball. Subin keeps moaning the whole damn time. Bumgyu also, I think this is really cute, Bumgyu tries showing off for Subin and then hits a virtual man. And Subin throws the baseball in a way that I'm a little bit obsessed with. They then play badminton for a bit. They both suck so bad at it. I do also feel like this is the important moment in the episode to mention that I love when Bumgyu speaks English. It tickles me in ways I cannot explain. Speaking of them being goofy, silly little guys, they then go on the trampoline. It's actually really cute. It's really cute, it's really wholesome, especially when they start doing the, like, Wii trampoline. That part is adorable, except for the fact that Dala Dala by Itchy started playing in the background, and it did really distract me. After that, they go to play baseball in the real world, like, not the VR version, they're playing in reality. And, what happens? Subin makes fun of Bumgyu. Bumgyu is admittedly really, really bad at it. He does a full 360-degree spin, though, every time he misses, so he can do whatever he wants. That's endearing to me, he can do whatever he wants. Subin's turn, meanwhile, unsurprisingly, involves a lot of moaning and a lot of yapping. Anyway, that's the episode. I think about this episode constantly. Mind you, this and, like, the Markyuk Botanical Garden date, they sit at the same place in my mind. They are 2 sides of the same coin to me. I think about them both constantly, and with that, I'm on to the actual timeline of Text. Alrighty, welcome to 2020, a new decade where I'm sure nothing bad will happen, and there will be nothing but peace and joy and love in the world. But we have no time to waste, because on January 15th, Text would make their official Japanese debut with Magic Hour. The album didn't contain any new material, it was just Japanese versions of their 2 titles and Angel or Devil, but it did do exceedingly well. It peaked at number 2 on the Japanese charts and sold over 100,000 copies, more than double what their 2 Korean albums had sold in Japan combined, and earned a gold certification. February was quieter, but March got us our first TXT fan meet. This is on March 7th and 8th, and I will say I was looking at the set list for it, and it is a goated set list. Like, I would have taken out the covers, but like they open with new rules. It's so good. My other complaint, actually, they don't do Crown, which feels so weird. TXT never seems to do Crown, by which I mean the one time I saw them live, they didn't do Crown. But as a whole, if you had sent me to like a TXT concert in the beginning of 2020, this is the exact lineup I would have wanted from the songs, right? Like, they cut pretty much all the right ones except Crown. Except Crown, justice for Crown. But it wasn't long after that we started getting teasers and hints about new music. And sure enough, on May 18th, we got the Dream Chapter Eternity, TXT's second mini-album, of which I have both versions. And this album was a big success for TXT, okay? It took over as their best-selling album, becoming the first TXT album to go platinum according to the album charts. The album has since gone double platinum. Current sales sit at about 550,000 copies. The only downside is it peaked a smidge lower. It peaked at number 2 on the album charts instead of number 1. But it's fine, because you know where it did go number 1? Japan. Top charts in Japan, TXT's first number 1 in Japan, and sold about 40,000 copies there. Now, let's talk about the lead single, Can't You See Me. This song was a pretty big hit for TXT when it came out. It peaked at number 66 on the Gaon charts and number 90 on the Melon charts. Again, not insane, but it is TXT's highest peaking single on either chart. It also got them 2 music show wins, so domestically, we're talking pretty strong numbers. Pretty much on par with what Crown had done, and much better than Runaway. Which is interesting, to say the least. This is one of the things that makes groups of this era so interesting. Because a group like TXT, right, Can You See Me will be arguably their biggest hit domestically, and it will be their biggest failure internationally, which it was. It was so far, at least I should say, with the caveat that it also still did well. Like, it got 130 million streams on Spotify and 80 million views on the music video. It did well, but it's also a decline from Runaway, which itself was a decline from Crown. And the thing is, I'm conflicted about this. So I'm going to make 2 statements right now that I do firmly believe with my whole heart, okay? Statement number 1. Can't You See Me is the weakest of TXT's first 3 singles. Statement number 2. Can't You See Me is a really good song. The song has these insane synths. They're so cool. And the chorus has this dark, creepy energy to it that frankly I fucking love. Plus the verses, especially the first one, are really strong. Like, this is a good song. Basically, Can't You See Me is good. It's great. It's also different, because TXT had sort of established themselves as making bright, dancey pop music in a way that Astro had. And the difference is Astro sort of took their time darkening their sound. They didn't immediately go like hard shift. TXT did the hard shift, and it seems like it was a bit hit or miss for people. And the thing is, it's not just the title. This whole album took a really hard shift away from that bright pop sound. Actually, let's start with the vocal songs. Okay, we're going to start with the vocally forward songs. First up, Fairy of Shampoo. It's nice. Apparently, it's like a remake of some really old song. I don't think I knew that. And if I did know that, I forgot that. But either way, it's nice. It's kind of ethereal, kind of dreamy. I like it. Also, Maze in the Mirror. That one's also nice. It's very vocals. It's kind of just vocals and guitar, which is admittedly kind of really my shit. So I do like it. It also, I think, has the strongest vocals on the album, and it was produced by Bumgu. Love that for my boy. Then there's Eternally, the last song on the album. That one's messier. For the most part, Eternally is this like dreamy R&B song, and it's really nice when it's that part. And it is that part mostly. For reasons I personally cannot really comprehend, after the chorus for about 20 seconds, the song gets really dark, and it gets like an almost rock beat going for it. And I know someone out there is gonna like be typing in the comments, being like, "No, this song's amazing because of blah 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 blah." And I don't disagree. I like Eternally, and I do think the 2 vibes work. I just think they might have worked better as 2 songs. But on a topic of that darker sound, let's move up a track. Let's talk about Puma. Now, I know that there are girls who like Puma. The bestie, at least at one point, was one of the girls who liked Puma. And this is the first TXT song that I straight up dislike. The main thing is just that it's like too trappy for me. We've established I don't like when TXT makes trap music. It's also just like not it for me. Like, I don't think this is a bad song, right? Like, this is not a straight up bad piece of music. We're gonna get to bad TXT music shortly. It's just not for me. Which leaves us with our golden B-side, Drama. If you were wondering where all of the pop energy on this album went, literally all of it was distilled into Drama. This is one of TXT's finest pop songs. And I do mean it's one of their best songs to this day. Like, right now, right here, gun to my head, I would put this in probably their top 20 songs for sure. Because, like, the verses are so funky and so good. The bridge is so fun, and the chorus is insane because it's like 90% music, and the music fucking pops off. The music has this insane piano, and it fucks so hard, and then the chorus starts, and they bring in these horns, and I'd frankly commit heinous crimes over them, okay? Like, they're so good, they're so cool. You could easily convince me Drama has the best music in any TXT song, if not, like, up there for any K-pop song, okay? The music on the song is insane. Everyone needs to start working with Noah Conrad immediately. I'm not even kind of joking, okay? I did some digging into this man. This man has made bangers. And I mean that, like, within K-pop. He made One of These Nights by Key, a song that I'm insane about. And, like, mainstream pop music, including, like, Red Wine Supernova by Chapel Roan. This man is God. This man might be one of the best producers I've ever heard of, and, like, I didn't know he existed until a month ago. Moving on. Puma would get a promotional run in June, and then in July we got our first solo activity of the video. Everyone cheer, everyone clap for solo activity. It's Soobin. Soobin began hosting Music Bank, which he did alongside Oh My Girl's Arin. Now, if you'll indulge me on what I promise will become relevant, but is unfortunately a minor Oh My Girl tangent. Oh My Girl would debut in 2015 under WM Entertainment, the home of B1A4. And they have a nearly perfect discography. They were sort of a mid-level girl group. Whenever I start talking about mid-level girl groups, I feel like in the modern day, no one knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Oh My Girl, like 2017, 2018 era Oh My Girl. They could chart singles, but they weren't like massively successful, okay? That all changed in 2019 when they went on Queendom. Oh My Girl did very well on Queendom. They gained a lot of new fans and finished the show in second. They quickly then used this fame to leverage their next album, which was the Non-Stop EP, which came out in April of 2020, just before the era that we're talking about. The Non-Stop EP was massive, okay? It was incredibly successful, led by the massively popular lead single, Non-Stop. This song was a major hit. It peaked at number 2 on all the charts and officially allowed Oh My Girl to enter the upper echelons of the girl group scene. Now, for those of you who don't know where I'm going with this tangent, the place I'm going is here, the Dolphin stage. Dolphin is a song off of the Non-Stop EP that itself was quite popular, and as part of their new hosting duties, Soobin and Arin would perform the song on their first episode of Music Bank. Dolphin, to be clear, had already been doing really well on the charts before this stage. It was in the top 10 of the Gaon charts before this stage came out. However, this stage blew the fuck up. This thing has 36 million views. It is credited in part with being a reason why Dolphin went on to be an even bigger hit than Non-Stop had been. Basically, Soobin showed up at Music Bank, walked into the president of Music Bank's office, and said he wanted to make history, and make history he did. Moving into August, TXT would return to Japan. They would release Drama as a digital single at the start of the month, before releasing their second Japanese single album, Drama. The album was another major success for TXT. It peaked at number 3 on the Japanese charts and sold another 100,000 copies, earning them their second gold certification. Really good when you consider this is their third top 3 album in Japan of 2020. As for the music, the album does contain Japanese versions of Drama, unsurprisingly, and Can't You See Me, also unsurprisingly. However, the third song marked our first original TXT Japanese release with Everlasting Shine. Everlasting Shine is kind of amazing. The music is so cool. I love the drums, but the chorus is absolutely the shining star. It absolutely just explodes in like that pop bliss kind of way that has me a little bit feral. And for what it's worth, society agrees with me, this thing has 70 million streams on Spotify. For a Japanese song, do you know how rare it is for a K-pop group's Japanese release to get 70 million streams on Spotify? It's practically unheard of. That does not happen often, and it's because the song is that good. That's my theory. It's because the song is that good. We're not going to take into account any other things about the song. It's because it's that good. The girls love it. I'm one of the aforementioned girls. Things were quiet in September, but October got us this. Got us the one and only Minisode 1 Blue Hour, of which I have all 3 versions. We're gonna zoom through album sales so I can get to the song itself, but we do need to know this thing was a beast of a seller. For starters, it did top charts, but like spoilers, every TXT album going forward went #1 on the Gaon chart. So I'm not gonna tell you every time, but like just know, whenever I'm talking about a TXT album in Korea, it was a #1 album, okay? With that, the sales. Blue Hour sold 300,000 copies in its first week, meaning in 7 days, it had already become the highest selling TXT album and closed 2020 as the 19th best-selling album that year with nearly 500,000 copies sold. And once again, sales have nearly doubled since then. This thing has sold over 1 million copies. It officially cleared 1 million in October of 2023, making this our oldest million-selling TXT album. It also did really well internationally. TXT appeared in the bottom half of the Billboard 200 with their debut. This marked their first real appearance, peaking at 25 and selling about 20,000 copies in the US. Meanwhile, in Japan, it would peak at #1 on the charts, TXT's second #1 album. It sold about 45,000 copies in its first week, so about half of what their Japanese album sales were, so that feels about right. Okay, enough about the album. I need to talk about Blue Hour, the song, because spoilers. I love this song so fucking much. Blue Hour is not only a return to form, a return to the bright pop sound that they had done with their first 2 albums. Dare I say it is the perfect embodiment of a boy group doing bright pop music. From the first second, you know you're in for something special. And it only gets better when they start singing. The verses are fun and catchy, and it only gets better with the chorus. Cause this chorus, my god do I love this chorus. It's light and airy while still delivering perfect hitting pop perfection, okay? I'm gonna be honest about something. I have never been closer to kissing Slow Rabbit on the mouth than I am when I listen to the chorus of this song. Every time, it sends me into a new plane of just euphoric existence. Like, I've always been a Runaway supremacist. I've accepted that about myself. Runaway is my favorite TXT title. And I think part of that is because it's when I got into TXT, like it was their first comeback as a stan. But if we're being honest, if we're being objective, this is the best of their first 4 albums, and you could easily convince me this is their best title. Like, it would not be a hard sell for you to get me to believe that Blue Hour is the best thing TXT has ever made. And for what it's worth, the girls do agree with me, because Blue Hour was a monster of a hit internationally. The music video has more than 200 million views. It is, to this day, their most viewed music video. That also doesn't take into account the audio track, which has about 40 million views, or the performances, which have millions on their own. The most viewed stage has about 9 million, which, to be fair, makes sense. It is one of their best stages ever, from the crop tops to the hair. This era was frankly a gem. Refocusing, let's talk Spotify. Blue Hour currently has about 250 million streams on Spotify, making it their most streamed song so far, and even today it is the 3rd highest streamed TXT song on Spotify. In short, internationally, diabolical. Absolutely their biggest hit so far. One of the biggest hits of 2020 internationally. Like, this thing went gold in the US, it was so big. Which is so interesting, because Blue Hour heavily underperformed domestically, okay? It barely cracked the top 100 of the Gaon charts, and it did not appear in the top 100 of the Melon charts. It did also only get 1 music show win, which does make sense, unfortunately. They decided to come back the same week as Twice, and while we are no longer in, like, peak Twice era, Twice is still Twice. I will say, though, this is me. This is a Simon Freak moment aside, as a freak, okay? I was looking at this era, and I was looking at the other songs that were on the charts. See, I was just looking at the charts. I had the charts up so I could see the other songs that were on there, because I wanted to see where TXT peaked. And I noticed a couple of the songs that were on there, and this is an era of time where, like, boy groups in general were suffering. We've already established that, like, 4th gen boy groups chart like shit. We know that. But even the few boy groups of 2020 who could chart well, aside from Bangtan, a lot of them were struggling. Like, this is when 17 could barely chart a single. This is when NCT was really suffering. Like, the end of 2020 was not a good era for any boy group who wasn't BTS. Now, let's talk B-sides. Because, I love this album so fucking much. We're gonna start with what is unsurprisingly my least favorite, Way Home. It's more trap. It's not Puma level bad, but I don't think it's Cat and Dog level fun. It's kind of just fine. But this is where we reach an issue. Because there are 3 B-sides left, and on different albums, all 3 of them could be our golden B-side. I love the other 3 B-sides more than I love some entire TXT albums. Starting at the top, we're going to start with track number 1, Ghosting. This is like a light, poppy rock song that has me ready to do something heinous. The verses are fantastic, the pre-chorus is phenomenal, and the chorus is one of the catchiest things TXT has ever made. It just lives in my head and has rent-free since this album came out. There is a 50-50, I will be humming this chorus within the hour because it's that catchy. It is also just, the vibes-wise, it's light, and it's the perfect opening to this album. Then, We Lost the Summer. It's giving light. It's giving airy, it's giving tropical, it's giving perfection. The second half of the chorus is great, but that first half, I might have screamed when I first heard it. Like, diabolical noises were made. I made sounds that human beings should not make the last time I heard this song. This song is everything to me. The verses are amazing. The whole thing is so good. Also, because I know someone will mention it if I don't, yes, Charlie XCX is a songwriter on this song. She's one of like 7 people who wrote on it. She didn't produce it, but she did write on it. However, this is an example of an interesting trend I noticed when I was making this like video and compiling everything and taking all these notes. There's like a decent number of examples where HYBE would get a big name like Charlie to work with Bangtan on something, and then like a year later they'd wind up on a TXT song somewhere. It happens more often than you would think. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? Let's talk about Wishlist. Wishlist is our golden B-side. This icon. This pop rock banger. I cannot say with certainty I believe it is the best B-side on this album, because frankly, the last 2 we talked about are quite close, but it is, by the slimmest margin, my favorite song on this album. I do want it known, I listened to these 3 songs probably 4 or 5 times in the making of this like entire moment, because I had to decide. I had to think about it. It took me a while. I narrowed it down to Ghosting and Wishlist. We Lost the Summer was the first one to be eliminated after, I believe, 3 listens. But, like, it was so close. I love this album so much. Anyway, Wishlist. Wishlist won. I can tell you why Wishlist won. Wishlist won because it stirs the most emotion in me. Okay, like, this is a chorus that I need to scream along to, which is very, very difficult to do because I live in an apartment with neighbors. But that's Blue Hour. That's the Blue Hour album. That's the Blue Hour experience, dare I say. This album's so good. I know I just finished talking about it, but like, this album's so fucking good. This album is one of the best pop albums I've ever heard in my life. I do believe that. Amongst like the EPs of pop, this is up there to be sure. Because like, think about the songs on here for a minute, okay? There are 4 B-sides on this album, and if you made me list out TXT's best like 10 B-sides, all 3 of them are in the top half. I believe that. Like, these 3, at least of like the top 6 that we've had up until this point in their careers, 3 of them are these 3. Okay, you know which 3. 3 of them are on there. Like, the title, TXT's arguably best to be far. Like, it's just, this album's so good. However, we're not done with 2020 music quite yet, because closing out the year, we got Your Light. This is an OST for the show Live On, or is it Live On? Actually, as I read the Korean, it's Live On. My brain had it as Live On, it's Live On. Anyway, it's Live On. It stars Byung-chan of Victon, who is admittedly my boy. Anyway, they drop both Korean and Japanese versions of the song. It's good, it's catchy, it's synthy. I do firmly believe I would like it a lot more if I didn't think of it as the song that came out right after Blue Hour. But either way, it's a good song. And that's 2020. An eventful year to be sure. A lot happened. Some iconic music was made. Let's go have a little retrospective. Alrighty, welcome back. Now, 2020 was not a bad year, at least for TXT. Maybe not globally, but TXT had a pretty good year. However, I would argue the key theme of 2020 is kind of just expansion more than anything else. Be that like just expanding their general Korean fan base, as well as of course their first forays into Japan and their first solo activities. That said, this brings us to an issue with TXT. That if you don't notice it, you're never gonna see it. And the second you do and you start writing, say, 25,000 words of notes, you can't unsee it, which is the hierarchy of TXT's solo activities. It's actually like almost comical. If you pulled up any random popularity poll and you compared it to a list of solo activities, they essentially line up like 1-to-1. Popularity is the biggest factor in who in TXT gets what solo activities. I am conflicted about this, okay? Because on the one hand, I have a degree in business administration, right? Like, I understand how these things work. The more popular you are, the more opportunities you're gonna get. So, like, obviously, Yeonjun's gonna have more solo opportunities than Taehyun, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I have to like the outcome. Especially if you compare TXT to a different group, let's say Astro, a group that I have no knowledge of whatsoever, of course. But in Astro, Anu obviously had the most solo activities. He was the most popular member. So let's call Yeonjun TXT's Anu, okay? We still have like 4 other members. And in Astro, the other Astro members had their own sort of solo identities outside of the group as well. Like, it wasn't just Anu got everything and you never saw Sana outside on his own a day in his life. Like, Sana had a solo identity. Myungjun's whole thing for a hot minute was just trot music. Like, the difference is that, like, I feel like if HYBE wanted the others to have solo activities, they would be able to. HYBE is a big label. If Fantagio could do it, HYBE can absolutely do it. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I wanted to point it out. And with that, we're going to talk about 2021. But first, another intermission. Also say hi to another TXT poster. I told you I have several. Upon reflection, I would have gotten out a different one, but I'm not getting another one now. Like, this one's tiny and we all have to learn to deal with it. Anyway, the reason we're here today is because I've talked a lot about TXT's music, and I've also, in the making of this video, listened to a lot of TXT music. I've listened to every TXT album like 3 or 4 times, minimum, in making this video, which means I'm very good at one key task, which is telling their voices apart. Admittedly, this isn't really relevant for any of the albums I've talked about so far. You gotta wait for Puberty to finish making its rounds through the lineup, but once it's done, once Blue Hour really is over, their vocals are actually really easy to tell apart if you know what to listen for. So, we're gonna start with our nasally boys. Our nasally boys are Yeonjun, and our nasally boys are Taehyun. Those are the nasally boys. The key way to differentiate them, really, is if they're doing something vocally impressive, that's Taehyun. Yeonjun, however, is actually the easiest TXT member for me to identify because of his trademark stank. Yeonjun is a stanky boy. I told you before, Yeonjun has a rich boy stank. And he really does. Like, he's not good at hiding it. So, like, if you're listening to TXT and you hear, like, an overly stanky line, almost every time that's gonna be Yeonjun. Then we have our lispy boys. Our lispy boys are Bongyu and Subin. These two are a bit harder to tell apart because they both have, like, very similar vocals. They're a bit deeper, but also lighter at the same time. And they both have lisps. Like, Sugyu, I love you so much, and your vocals are so similar. These two really just require a bit more nuance to understand. Subin's voice is notably deeper, like just a little bit. It has a little bit deeper. He is also the one who is typically singing a falsetto sound. So like if you hear a falsetto, that's often Subin. Bongyu, meanwhile, is the lispier of the two. So like if you hear a lisp and it's a little extra lispy, that's Bongyu. He's our lispy little twink. And lastly, Kai. Kai's vocals are kind of just the clearest, if I'm being honest. That's how I understand him, really, is like, if you hear vocals and they're the cleanest sounding, they're a little deep but a little nasally at the same time and they just sound extra clean, that's usually Kai. Anyway, that was fun. That was a fun little goofy intermission. Feel free to go listen to like Deja Vu and test my theory. You're gonna be right. I'm literally right 100% of the time. But yeah, with that, back to the timeline. Okay, 2021 time. A very complicated year. But we start 2021 just like we started 2020 over in Japan because on January 20th, TXT would release Still Dreaming, their first Japanese studio album. Now, to be fair, most of this album was already out. By which I mean, of the 10 songs, 6 are the ones from their Japanese singles, so we got 4 new things for this album. Kind of. Because the 4 are an intro, an outro, a Japanese version of Blue Hour, and Force. And Force is admittedly excellent, okay? It's a very poppy pop rock track with great music and a fantastic chorus. The album is also very successful. It went #1 in Japan, their first Japanese release to go #1. It also earned them another gold certification for clearing 100,000 copies. Everyone was happy. At least everyone, unless you hated TXT. January also saw Taehyun and Kai begin hosting the EBS show Listen. They would do this until May. During their hosting period, though, in March, we got TXT's next fan meet with HYBE together. I did notice it with this one. They never hold the actual fan meet on their anniversary. It's always like within like 3 or 4 days. I don't know why I find that fascinating, but I do. I'm a freak like that. Anyway, in May, we got another two. We got Love Sight. This is what I would consider our first true ballad from TXT. It's fine. I would like to stress, I am not a ballad hater, okay? I know there's a lot of K-pop fans who hate ballads and think ballads are boring. I'm not one of them. This ballad, however, is kind of meh. My main thing with it, I'm not going to name names. However, there's a couple members that maybe don't have a vocal tone that really suits like a ballad, and those members get a few too many lines, and it kind of kills the song for me. But it's fine, because also in May, TXT would release The Chaos Chapter Freeze, their second studio album along with its lead single, I Know I Love You. I do also have all 3 versions. And that's actually going to be our starting point. We're going to start with the title track, because a lot of people consider this TXT's best song. I've seen so many people on Twitter.com who are like, I Know I Love You is the best song ever. Not in the same way that I'll see that about like any song by like a major artist, but like a lot of TXT fans think this is the pinnacle, and I don't. I have not been subtle in this video that I think TXT's best songs are their breakpop songs, right? Like, I've been clear about that. And I will admit my own faults, right? Like, I didn't like this song when it came out. I didn't. I actually disliked this song when it came out. And I'm very aware of that, and it's because I love their bright songs, and it's also the fact that we went from Blue Hour, dare I say their best title, to this, because this song is a lot of things, and Bright is absolutely not one of them. Instead, this song marked TXT's first time truly diving into rock music for their inspiration, because this is a pop rock song. And it has grown on me. I actually do think it's a very good song. Part of that growth is some deep-seated hatred I have for a song we're gonna get to that really made me reevaluate my stances on TXT's music. But like, I won't deny, I Know I Love You is a very good song. The verses are good, but the best part is undeniably the chorus. The way it just explodes in the first half after building up with the music through the pre-chorus, plus the second half where you get Sori's vocals and just the melancholicness of it all. It's just, this is a really good song. Plus, this song was a pretty massive hit for TXT. For starters, it took over as their highest peaking single, peaking at number 42 on the Gaon charts, their first song ever to appear in the top half. It also took over as their most awarded song on music shows, pulling in 4 total wins, including the group's first win on Music Bank. However, international numbers are where the song truly popped off. I Know I Love You has more than 330 million streams on Spotify. It is their most streamed song to this day and holds that #1 spot by a margin of more than 50 million streams. The music video, meanwhile, has about 130 million views. The audio track has 56 million. There are stages with more than 10 million. As a whole, YouTube-wise, this song is technically a drop, but like, this is still TXT's biggest international hit, with its only real competition being Blue Hour. But you know what else was a big hit? This album. TXT, to be clear, has always had very good album sales. This is where we enter TXT's insane album sales era. This album took over as TXT's best-selling album before it even came out. In its first day, it sold 700,000 copies. By the end of 2021, this was the 14th highest selling album released that year. It sold 900,000 copies, with current sales sitting at well over 1 million. And do not think that this success was just in Korea. This album did well everywhere. Like in Japan, it went #1 on the charts and became TXT's first Korean release to get a gold certification, selling nearly 200,000 copies in Japan. Meanwhile, in the US, not only did it mark TXT's first top 10 album on the Billboard 200, it peaked at #5 on the chart and sold 150,000 copies in the US. In short, I was not joking when I said that this album was when TXT entered insane era, okay? Between Korea, Japan, and the US, just those 3 places, we are talking more than 1.5 million copies sold. But with that, it is now time for the B-sides. But, as always, we're going to start with the songs that I don't really like. So first up, we have Ice Cream. The thing with that song is that it's this, like, funky electronic song, which, admittedly, sounds like something I should be feral over. That sounds like whatever the type of music Just B is making, and I lose my shit to their latest album. So, like, I should love it, right? Except for the fact that it's so aggressively fine that it almost makes me mad at the wasted potential. Then there's Frost. Frost is a very strong contender for the worst music I've heard in a TXT song. It's so grating. I hate it so much. I'm not willing to die on the hill that this is their worst song overall, but I do believe it is their worst song so far. Now, let's talk about the good songs, and we're going to start with a song that seemingly only I like, which is What If I Had Been the Puma? And, like, here's the thing. This is a song that is not for serious people, okay? This is a goofy, dumb little song, but it's fun. The chorus has a nice groove to it. I think it's good. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have the fan favorite B-side, which is Anti-Romantic. This song has 225 million streams on Spotify. Okay? For a frame of reference, we've talked about mainline TXT titles. Most of the mainline TXT titles we talked about, actually, have less streams than that. This is their 6th most streamed song of all time. The girls love this song. And admittedly, I am amongst the girls. I really like it. It's more restrained, right? Like, it's more toned down. It's much more vocal than a lot of the songs that I really love from TXT. But it is so good. Like, the harmonies, when they choose to hit, they hit so perfectly. I'm not willing to say this is TXT's 6th best song of all time, but I do think amongst their B-sides, it's one of the strongest, especially vocally. Then we have our other 100 million streamer, Magic. This is the TXT English language song. They made a big deal about how this was their first English song. They did promotions for it in the US and everything. I don't really care about that. I care about it as a song, and it is really good. Like, this is absolutely pop excellence right there. It's disco pop, and it works so perfectly. Like, I've listened to this song on loop for an hour, and I've been having fun after that hour. Okay, like, it's so fun, it's so catchy, it's so good. Like, I'm so sorry, this chorus is pop bliss to me. The way they open it with the, like, oh, it's just like magic line, that line gets me. The chorus gets me. The chorus is so fun. It's serotonin straight into my brain. It's just, this is one of TXT's strongest B-sides overall. Like, not even B-sides, this is one of their strongest songs overall, titles included. Speaking of songs with great music, though, we got Dear Sputnik. This is a Kai production. We love to see it. And it's great. It has really cool music. It's another, like, rock-inspired pop song. And TXT really is so good when they make their pop-rock music. But then we have our golden B-side, No Rules. Here's the thing. I stand by TXT is good when they make poppy rock music, but what they're really good at is dance pop music, okay? That's the kind of thing that will get me climbing the walls, and then this song takes that, mixes it with that dreamy pop that also makes me climb the walls, and merges them together. It's designed in a lab to make me go crazy, and go crazy I do. Like, this song is the whole package. You want to talk about great music? Let's talk about the last minute of this song, okay? That last, like, 60 seconds, insanity. You want to talk about verses now? This song has raps that I actually really fucking like. Oh, now you want to shift gears? You want to talk vocals? Vocals on point. You want to talk chorus? You want to talk about a chorus that you can't not dance to? Put this chorus on and not shake ass. I dare you. It's impossible. This is the perfect song. In conclusion, this is a great fucking album, okay? There are some duds, to be sure. But if you look at it, there are 8 songs on here, right? I like 6 of them. I love probably 4 or 5 of them. 3 of them I easily would consider some of TXT's strongest. So, like, it was a moment. And also it was a moment for TXT. This is the album that I would really argue cemented them not just as one of the biggest 4th gen boy groups, but one of the biggest active boy groups, period. And HYBE, to their credit, very quickly got to work capitalizing on the success of I Know I Love You. We got a remix. We got a remix with rappers Oogie Goatchild and PH1. It's not very good. It's not very good. The raps don't really work for me. And also they lowered the music to make it more vocally forward, which is unfortunate because the music is the best part of this song. So, like, it doesn't work for me. I don't like it. But it's fine. That's not real. That's not a mainline TXT release, but we did not have to wait long because in August we got the Chaos Chapter Fight or Escape, a repackaged version of their 2nd studio album, of which I have both versions. And in spite of being a repackage, an album type that usually does not sell as well, this thing went a bit crazy in terms of sales. Fight or Escape sold 775,000 copies in 2020. Okay, so not quite on par with their full. Same cannot be said in the long run. Current sales for this thing are at 1.3 million, making it one of the few repackages to outsell its original version. Then there's the album's lead single, Loser Lover. This song, frankly, to me, kind of feels like a lot of its success coasted off the success of I Know I Love You, but, like, this was still a hit, right? Like, it beat number 76 on the Gong charts. Definitely not their worst, but a drop. Streaming is another story. Loser Lover has 270 million streams on Spotify. Remember how when I was talking about I Know I Love You, I said it had a gap of 50 million to number 2? Say hello to number 2. But for context, that means in the span of just a couple months, TXT dropped 3 of their biggest hits on Spotify. Meanwhile, on YouTube, the music video has over 100 million views. It's at about 115 million. The audio track has 50 million. There are stages in the millions. You know the deal. We're talking excellent YouTube numbers and also marking our 3rd consecutive massive international hit. Musically, Loser Lover is actually really interesting to me because when it came out, I liked it more than I Know I Love You, a stance I frankly cannot defend. That makes it sound like I don't like this song. I do. I think it's good, but I think if we were to look at these two as like a duality, right? Like the TXT rock era sequels. I don't know what they're called. A duology? Duology. The TXT rock era duology, okay? I Know I Love You is by far the stronger. I don't know what I was going through. Anyway, B-sides. We got 2 B-sides in addition to the title on this album. The first one is a remix of I Know I Love You. It is the emo core remix. It's our 2nd remix of the song. I see why it exists. I prefer the original, which brings us to B-side number 2, Moa Diary. This song is delightful. This is admittedly another song that is not for serious people, but like, not every song needs to be Sometimes It Snows in April, okay? Like, sometimes you just need a dumb, fun, catchy pop song, and that's what this song is. This song is fun. This song is cute. This song is dancey. I love this song. I loved this song when it came out, and I still love this song. I think it's like a secret banger of TXT's discography, because like, it's fun. Sometimes you just need to have fun. Moving into August, we would get our 3rd I Know I Love You remix, this time with Mod Sun. Before I tell you about the song, I want to tell you about Mod Sun. I want to tell you the literal only thing I know about this man, okay? I know one piece of fun, actually I do know 2 now. I know he's like dating or engaged to Avril Lavigne or something. But at the time, for most of my life, I've known one thing about this man. The one thing I knew about this man is back in 2018, he dated a 20-year-old Tana Mongeau and a 20-year-old Bella Thorne. They were a throuple. It wasn't like a cheating situation. He was dating both of them as like a throuple. For those who forgot that Tana Mongeau dated Bella Thorne as well, that did happen. However, at the time of the story, the girls were like 20. He was like 32. So I don't like his vibes. I think he has icky vibes. I will also say the song sucks, if you were wondering. This remix is really bad. That man can't sing. Okay, I say this as a man who can't sing. I'm aware that I can't sing, so I don't force people to listen to me sing. That man can't sing, and I had to listen to him sing, and I would like financial compensation, because it was not a good experience. quick note, this is when Subin stopped hosting Music Bank, worry not. It stayed within the HYBE consortium, by which I mean he was replaced by someone of HYBE. In more positive news, October also saw Act Boy, TXT's first official concert. This was an online concert because it was 2021, but even so, we got a concert. Also, for what it's worth, this is another really goated set list. I love the set list for this tour, mainly because it's a lot of their, like, first 4 albums. And, like, for example, Anti-Romantic isn't on the set list for this concert. I don't know why. Like, that's so strange to me. Actually, can I go on a minor tangent? This is a minor tangent I've been meaning to go on for, like, years now. I've had this thought forever, and I've never had a better opportunity to bring it up, I guess. So, like, for K-pop tours, they don't tour the whole album. That's so weird to me. Where, like, when I went to the Renaissance tour, I heard every song on Renaissance. Or I would have, except for the fact that the show was delayed and she had to cut some songs. But, like, in theory, I would have heard every song from Renaissance, right? If you went to the Chaos Chapter tour, you didn't hear every song from the Chaos Chapter. Like, if you went to the Dreamscape tour for NCT Dream, you didn't hear I Hate Fruits. So, like, I don't understand why K-pop artists, like, it's specifically K-pop artists I've noticed do this. They don't tour the whole album. And I've never understood why, because they'll do B-sides off, like, old albums, and they won't do the B-sides off their, like, do the whole album. I'm paying to see the tour for this album. Do the songs on this album. Thank you for letting me go on that rant. I do feel a lot better. Now let's ruin my vibes even more by talking about Blockbuster. Blockbuster is a song off HYBE's first studio album, Dimension Dilemma. It came out in October. It features Yeonjun. That's why it's in this video. It features Yeonjun. It is also one of the worst songs I've ever heard. I talk about it more in my HYBE Deep Dive, but, like, this is one of HYBE's worst songs. The general public hated it. It was all bad. Moving into November, we got TXT's next OST with Eyes. This is good. I like it. It, like, takes the rock that TXT had been doing and mixes it with a, like, more classic Idol OST sound. I like it. I think it's good. More importantly, though, November got us Chaotic Wonderland, TXT's first Japanese mini album. The album, unsurprisingly, did really well. It went #1 in Japan, sold 100,000 copies in its first week, and went on to become their first Japanese release to get a platinum certification. Musically, the album is a lot more material we already kind of had. There's Japanese versions of I Know I Love You, Moa Diary, and Magic. Or I guess Magic is an English song, so there isn't a we got Magic again. There was one actual new song on this album, though, which was Ito. Ito's good. It's the most vocal thing they've done all year. I think it's nice. I think it's pretty. I also think it's their weakest original Japanese song so far, with the knowledge that they have, like, 3. But on that lovely note, we are done with 2021. A very unique year, so let's go talk about it. Hey, so, 2021, not my favorite year. I do mean that musically, primarily. Obviously, they had good songs, but as far as their titles go, they've grown on me, like, and primarily from some bullshit TXT drops in 2022. However, like, I'm a pop girl, right? Like, I've said this a billion times. I am a pop girl to my core, and TXT is so good at making pop music that I can't help but be, like, a little bit disappointed when they make anything else. However, I am definitely alone in my stances because while TXT's first major hit was probably Blue Hour, their 2021 releases are what actually cemented them as a major boy group. Like, yeah, TXT had always been near the top, if not at the top of 4th gen, and there are a couple reasons why, but 2021 is really when they became not just at the top of 4th gen, but at the top of boy group music really in general. Like, they had 2 massive international hits, as well as 2 hugely successful albums. The sky was truly the limit for TXT going into 2022, which makes their decisions interesting. So let's get into it. So, 2022. Who's ready for nonsense? And we start strange. Okay, we start with Yeonjun and Taehyun featuring on the song PS5. I will say, it is actually pretty good. I like the music. The lyrics could use another run-through, but what more do I expect from Miss Mad at Disney? That's not fair. I do, unfortunately, really like that song. It is of its time, for sure. Like, it did need to exist alongside the likes of ABCDEFU, but, like, it doesn't make me want to shoot myself in the face. we're getting distracted. For now, let's move on. We are going to stick with Yeonjun because it had been about 6 months of no TXT member hosting a music show, and that would not do for HYBE. So, Yeonjun started hosting Inkigayo. I will tell you when he stops. It's in a very long time. For now, though, let's talk about Minisode 2 Thursday's Child. TXT's 4th mini-album came out on May 9th. I have 3 versions. Let's start with the album, okay? Because this thing went a little crazy even for TXT at this point. Minisode 2 Thursday's Child was the 7th highest selling album of 2022. Its current sales sit at nearly 2 million copies sold. It was also another #1 album in Japan. It sold 180,000 copies and was certified gold. And in the US, it became their highest peaking album on the Billboard 200, peaking at number 4 and selling 250,000 copies. Unfortunately, now it's time to talk about the title track. Now it's time to talk about Good Boy Gone Bad. When I was taking these notes, I saw a tweet that I keep thinking about. That was like, I judge you as a Moa based off your reactions to this song. And I guess you can call me a bad Moa because this is TXT's worst title and it's not even kind of close. I'm going to start positive, okay? I'm going to start with what I like about this song, which I like the pre-chorus. I do. I think the pre-chorus is actually cool. I like the creepy vibes there. I think it flows well into the chorus. Thus concludes the list of things I like. Now let's talk about everything else. I don't like most of this song, but my area of complaint truly centers around the chorus, and I promise it's nuanced. The first thing I don't like about this chorus is the music itself. They do draw from rock again, but this time it's more like a metal rock, and also they drew from hip-hop, and the combination is truly a rough one. Then there's the lyrics. I've established in this very video that I am inclined to dislike an overly repetitive chorus. So imagine my delight when I learned that this chorus is them essentially saying "good boy gone bad" a lot of times, whether it be in a gross hip-hop way or with them just literally shouting it at me. In conclusion, it's not good. It's bad. It's a bad song. I actually think this is an objectively bad piece of music as music goes. Not in the sense of oh, it's not for me, I don't like it, but there's stuff there that's good. No. This is just bad, which is so unfortunate because they looked so good this era. The looks this era, Kai had longer hair, Subin looked so good, Bumki. I'm never watching a damn stage for this song because I hate this song, but the looks were so good. Why did it have to be with their worst song ever? However, dare I say thankfully, I am not the only one who didn't fuck with this song. This was TXT's biggest flop in years. Domestically, it did peak at number 58 on the Gaon charts, however, it did not crack the top 100 of the Melon chart, so we're not starting off very strong. It also only got 1 win on music shows. Now, there have been other TXT songs that got 1 win. For example, their last song to get 1 win with Blue Hour. Blue Hour managed to pull in insane international numbers, but however, you couple it all with everything else, domestically, this was a major disappointment. However, unlike Blue Hour, international numbers were not looking much better, at least by TXT's standards. The song currently has about 200 million streams on Spotify, which sounds like a lot, and is a lot. There's also a B-side on their last album that has more streams, and as far as their titles go, this is their least streamed single on Spotify in about 2 years. Same thing with YouTube. The music video for this song has about 100 million views, a little under it, which is a good number, except that's also their second least viewed music video, and for some context, okay? Back during debut era, they dropped a fun little goofy music video for Cat and Dog, and that has more views than the music video for this. Basically, this song was a flop. This song did not do well, and I'm so grateful, because here's the thing. I've stanned other groups that will put out their worst song, and it will be their biggest hit, and they will continue to make ass music, and sometimes I do think about it. When I was making this video, I thought about it. I was imagine a world where Good Boy Gone Bad had been as big as I Know I Love You, and it had been this big hit, and they just kept making this sound of music. It would be a different world. I don't know if I'd still be a TXT stan. Because, like, I've dropped groups for making shit music, so, like, we all need to be grateful. Because the world would look very different had Good Boy Gone Bad not been an abject failure. Speaking of music, let's talk about the B-sides. And we start so strong. We start with the one and only opening sequence. Like, this song is dark. It's sexy. It's cool. It also has great choreography. In my dream world, this was the title track. Skipping over the actual title track, our next song is Trust Fund Baby. Objectively the funniest song title for a ballad. But once you ignore that, it's actually pretty good. You ignore that, you ignore a lot of the lyrics, it's nice. It's kind of just Tuxton piano. And I know I've said before in this video that Tuxt vocals don't really work for like a ballad. This is a pop ballad. And it works. It's nice, it's chill, I like it. But that's nothing. That's nothing, I don't care, because it's time for the best thing this album delivers for me. Unit songs. Here's the thing. I'm a slut for a unit song. Okay? I don't care that Tuxt has 5 members. I want duo songs. I want trio songs. You could give me even like a foursome song. I don't care. I love distinct combinations because it lets new things come to the surface. I'm so crazy about it, and this album delivers. Our first song is the duo song, which is Lonely Boy. This is Yeonjun and Kai. It's R&B. It's pretty good. I don't like the verses very much. I think there's too much rap going on, but I do think the chorus is strong. But it's fine. And you want to know why it's fine? Because closing out the album, we have our trio song. We have Thursday's Child Has Far to Go. This is Soobin, Bumgyu, and Taehyun. It is everything to me. It is our golden B-side, and it is very possibly my favorite Tuxt song. I think this is their most synth-pop song potentially ever, but certainly since the Blue Hour album, and it's just... I literally cried the first time I heard it, okay? I get goosebumps even now. I was just listening to it, and I was jamming my little heart out. The way the intro ends and the music kicks in is truly a rapturous experience. And the song only gets better from there. The music on this thing is just like sheer synth pop perfection, which I'm giving Bumgyu credit for, okay? Bumgyu produced this song, and I'm giving him all the credit in the world. That's my boy. Plus there's the chorus. Imagine if like the synth pop met pop rock, and you get this chorus. It's everything to me. Plus the vocals, Taehyun with synths is truly a magical experience, and the way Bumgyu and Soobin were harmonizing together, the way their voices work together, makes me want to start fires. I will say I actually have one grievous complaint about this song, which is when they do it live, they do it as 5. I think that's the biggest cop-out in the world. That's bitch behavior. Okay? They will rework this song when they do it live to put put Yeonjun and Kai in, and that makes me want to shoot someone in the face. Absolutely not. This is a trio song. I've hated when groups do that ever since 17 promoted Highlight as 13. It's the evilest behavior you could do. Someone needs to die. Speaking of live performances, though, in promotion for the album, Tuxt embarked on their very first tour with the Act Lovesick Tour. The tour began in the beginning of July with 2 sold-out shows in Seoul before they headed over to the US for the rest of the month, as well as performing at Lollapalooza in Chicago, which, as I look at this lineup, I'm now realizing they held a Chicago concert, like, separately from Lollapalooza. They ended at Lollapalooza. So if you lived in Chicago, I'm a bit jealous of you. That same month, Tuxt would release Valley of Lies, a collaboration with Ian Dior, and it's fine. In spite of me deeply loving Mood, I don't vibe with Ian Dior's music. This is no exception. Either way, Tuxt paused touring for August. They would head over to Japan. They performed at a couple big festivals there at the beginning of the month, and then at the end of the month, they released their 3rd Japanese single album. The album, Good Boy Gone Bad, did contain a Japanese version of Good Boy Gone Bad, as well as 2 original Japanese songs. I don't fuck with either that much. Ring is the stronger one, but they don't scratch my Tuxt itch. However, my opinion is meaningless, because this thing did insanely well commercially. It would sell 450,000 copies and become Tuxt's first release to go double platinum in Japan. After the release of their album in promotion, Tuxt did more concerts in Japan. They would do 4 there, bopped around Asia for a bit in October, officially wrapping up in the Philippines on October 28th. Oh lord, okay, it's time to talk about Starseeker. So this is Tuxt's web series. Like how HYBE had web series going, Tux has one too. I didn't bring it up yet because I don't care about it. I think Tux is interesting enough as actual human people. However, I am bringing it up now because in between chunks of touring, they would release Free Falling for the series, and it's good. I like the music. I think it's cool. But that's about it for Tux in 2022. They took November off. December was normal year-end stuff. Nothing exciting, nothing interesting. We're done here. Back to the retrospective corner. Alrighty, so, 2022. An interesting year to be sure. Let's start positively, okay? We got a tour. Everyone's sure. We finally got a tour. We also got insane success in Japan. They were so big there. And their biggest album so far. Then there's the negatives, pretty much all of which center around Good Boy Gone Bad. First, the obvious, the song itself just wasn't a very big hit by their standards. Like, again, obviously it did well. The song has 200 million streams on Spotify. But, like, that was classic Tux behavior at this point. And it was their least streamed song in years. For Tux, this was a failure. And I find that fascinating. Because it's a sound that boy groups loved doing in 2022. Like, that was classic boy group music. Tux had finally caved and made classic boy group music. And it was an abject failure, and I'm considering that an emotional win. And on the topic of the music, this is definitely Tux's worst year for music, at least so far. It doesn't help that we only got one album this year, and said album had their worst single ever. But even like the B-sides and their Japanese releases and their non-mainline material, it all just felt lesser compared to the past few years. Like, if you look back at the music in 2019, 2020, 2021, right? Like, there's 3 songs minimum each year that I will point to and I'll be like, that is pop excellence. That is one of the best pop songs I've ever heard. In 2022, there's one. Thursday's Child Has Far to Go, My Love. You Will Always Be My Favorite. However, there wasn't really anything else. Thankfully, there's a lot of changes coming in 2023. So let's go talk about that now. But first, another intermission. I have busted out for you this. The horniest poster of Tux that I own, if not the horniest poster that I own. And today I'm going to, for your viewing pleasure, bring back a classic. Bring back something we did in my first Tux video. We're going to talk about AO3. Again, just to cover my bases here, I know a lot of you are weird and boring and don't like fun and don't like when I talk about shipping idols, and you can leave. You don't have to be here, okay? You clicked on this video, you can leave this video. This video might not be for you if that's how you feel, because I'm going to talk about the ships in this group with the knowledge that I don't know these men, okay? I don't know those guys. I've never met them. The closest I've gotten is seeing them from a great distance on a stage. I don't know those guys, but also I'm correct in everything I'm about to say. And with that, starting off this section, we have the 5th most popular Tux pairing on AO3. We have Subin and we have Kai. This one is complicated. If you had asked me in the era of Sukai, like the era when Sukai was Sukaiing, I actually would have said no. Like, in my original Tux video, I said, I don't love it, but the bestie does, so I gotta give it rights. The difference is, I've become a lot more aware. I've become more woke, if you will. I've become more acknowledging of the Sukaiing of it all. Because every once in a while I'll see them. I'll see Tux content, and they'll do something that reminds me of their past entanglement, and I can't help but deny that, like, there's something there. Next up, we of course have Subin and Bumkyu. Here's the thing. I definitely did give away my stance at several points in this video. I love those two. The thing is, though, I don't ship them. I don't think anyone gets them like I do, frankly. I think only I properly understand what they are to each other, and no fic gets them right. I've never read a Sugyu fic that actually, like, gets them to the degree that I do. So I can't ship it in the way that I would, but I do love those two. Those two are besties. They're chaotic besties, specifically. Do they want a third? I would be their third. In conclusion, simultaneously, much rights and no rights. Like, much rights in the sense that, like, there's so much there. There's so much there if you wanted there to be stuff there. Like, there's so much there. However, no one gets them like I do. So you get no rights because you don't get them. We do have more Bumgyu at number 3. This time it is Bumgyu and it is Yeonjun. And the thing about those two is that I have to be honest, right? Like, I'm honest on this channel. And those two, embarrassingly for me, are a very important part of my development. Like, specifically, I liked those two in a pre-2021 vibe. Like, in the early years of TXT, I really liked those two. I thought that, like, their content was fun. It was messy boots. Like, the stuff was there. However, I'm also an adult now, and I can look back on it and be like, there's nothing there. Like, every once in a while I'll see a sliver, but, like, it's not like Tsukai, right? Like, with Tsukai, I'm constantly seeing the memories. This one, like, I see it maybe once a year, and otherwise I'm like, I don't know what I was going through. On to number 2. The number 2 ship on AO3 is more Bumgyu. That's Subin. It's more Bumgyu. It is Bumgyu and Taehyun? No. Let me explain. Bumgyu and Taehyun are very close. They are very close friends. They are low-key some of, like, the closest duos in the group. However, they're not, like, interesting besties, right? Like, they're not, like, Sugyu besties, where it's like, I want to understand them. They're kind of just guys who are dudes who are bros. If I may be so bold, I'm gonna be evil for a second. I think a big reason this ship is popular is because y'all are horny. Let me explain. Taehyun, bulky boy. That's our bulky boy, that's our big boy. Bumgyu, as established, lispy little twink. I think people just see that sometimes and that's all they need. In a similar vein, Subin and Yeonjun, the number 1 TXT ship on AO3, and a ship I despise. I actually mean that in a couple ways. Like, you think I mean that in one way, and I mean that in several ways. Way one is just that Yeonjun and Subin aren't that interesting to me. Like, there's some stuff there, but it's like, Subin has more interesting dynamics with other members, right? Like, Bumgyu's there, Kai is there, and if you're dangling Yeonjun in front of me, I'm just like, I don't care. The other reason I hate this ship is that no one gets them. Okay, like, if Subin and Yeonjun were the Subin and Yeonjun that existed on AO3, I would understand it. Like, if the Subin and Yeonjun that existed in reality were the Subin and Yeonjun that the girls write fic of, I would get it. But they're not. Like, for starters, Trans Subin is not a top. Is he a large man? Absolutely. 100%. Is he a top? No. Like, someone recently tweeted out the top tops and the top bottoms of AO3, and Subin was like top 30 tops. Subin, per the archives, has topped more than any member of Stray Kids except for Bangtan. And we all kind of need to burn for that. In conclusion, I hate it. I hate it in reality, and I hate it on the archives because no one gets them like I do. Like, Subin, get behind me, the girls are making you top. Anyway, that's all I have in this particular moment. One thing that I do think is interesting that I'm going to bring up now is the top 5 ships for TXT on AO3 have not changed in the last 3 years. Like, not only are the top 5 still the top 5 are still the top 5 in the same 5 order. And I think that's so interesting. We need to start writing rare pairs. Where's the Teikai fic? Someone give me Teikai fic. Anyway, that's all I had in this moment. I hope this was fun. Back to the video. Okay, people, strap in. It's time for 2023. And we have no time to waste because at the end of January, TXT would return their first album in 8 months, The Name Chapter Temptation. Their most successful comeback ever. I have 3 versions. Let's start with album sales. Okay, starting off album sales, this is TXT's best-selling album. It sold 3.2 million copies and was the 6th highest selling album of 2023. However, those are just the domestic numbers, and arguably its bigger feats are international. Starting in Japan, it sold 200,000 copies and earned TXT yet another #1 album. However, the most impressive achievement from this album is here in the US. This album would go #1 on the Billboard 200, their first #1 album, and sold 400,000 copies, and is, to this day, the only TXT album to go gold in the US. However, I did not tell you that this was TXT's biggest album. I said this was their biggest comeback, which means it's time to talk about the lead single, Sugar Rush Ride, also TXT's biggest hit. We're going to change things up and start internationally this time. So starting off with Spotify, Sugar Rush Ride would pull in 240 million streams. It was their most streamed song in over a year, and their 4th most streamed song to this day. As for YouTube, Sugar Rush Ride's music video would get 160 million views. It is their 3rd most viewed music video of all time, and their most viewed music video since Runaway 3 years earlier. Plus, that doesn't take into account the audio track where they got 60 million, Dance Practice with 20 million, Stages with millions of views. We're talking hundreds of millions of engagements on YouTube. So, we had another massive international hit. Not to be a cynic, but like, what's new? They've done this several times before. This isn't even their most streamed song. Like, we've had these numbers before. This isn't the groundbreaking part. No. The groundbreaking area was Sugar Rush Ride's domestic performance. Now, we've already established TXT is the strongest charter of 4th gen boy groups. The difference is, that's kind of like being the best at math in a room full of toddlers. Like, we're not exactly talking stiff competition. They hadn't put out any massive domestic hits. They just hadn't had a string of failures. That changed with Sugar Rush Ride. Sugar Rush Ride would be at number 11 on the Gaon digital charts. Now, admittedly, that's not super crazy. That's not groundbreaking. There is a surprising number of 4th gen boy groups that have top 10s on the Gaon charts. The difference is the Melon charts. For a frame of reference, groups like Stray Kids, ATEEZ, and HYBE, they can't get a song in the top 100 of the Melon charts. Sugar Rush Ride was peaking at number 13. Plus, this song had longevity. Sugar Rush Ride wouldn't fall out of the top 100 until April, 3 full months after its release. For a frame of reference again, most boy groups of 4th gen, they'll chart a song for maybe 3 weeks max. They're not pulling in 3 months. Plus, this pulled in another 4 music show wins, tying for the record for most music show awards from a TXT song, and it earned them their first win on Inkigayo. It was massive. Like, I said this was their biggest hit, and I fucking meant it. And the thing is, Sugar Rush Ride deserves its hit status. If anything, it deserves better than the numbers it was managing to do. This is nothing short of synth pop perfection. This is their most synth pop song since Blue Hour, and when I tell you they ate on every second of this song. It opens with this insane guitar, and it only gets better from there. The verses are excellent. The second half of the verses, where the music just explodes, that's euphoric. Okay, I see God when that part starts. Plus, there's the outro, which is just as insane. Like, that is a pop perfection outro. Now, let's talk about the chorus, because the chorus is different than the rest of the song. And it's a lot darker, it's a lot, I don't want to say scarier, it's definitely sexier, and it's also worse. I'm not going to say it's bad, entirely because I have Stockholmed myself into liking this chorus, but as a whole, I feel like if I were like experiencing the song for the first time now, with a fully formed brain, and also with the music TXT has been releasing now, I would experience it differently, right? Because like, this came after Good Boy Gone Bad. Okay, after Good Boy Gone Bad, I would have taken anything. And I mean, like, this is an excellent song. The verses are so good. And the chorus is good, it's just less good. I feel like I've angered so many of the TXT fans, so let me defend myself a little bit. Okay, like, this is an excellent song. This is an amazing song. I love this song. It was my, like, 10th most streamed song the year it came out or something. I don't remember what the number was. It was up there, though. Like, it was one of my most streamed songs of 2023. I'm crazy about it because it is amazing. And the thing is, it's not just the title track, right? Like, this album is incredible. Let's start with my skip and Society's skip, which is Happy Fools. That song is not very good. It's a collaboration with Coi Leray, as you can see, and I frankly don't know why it exists as a song. But it's not good, right? Like, the chorus is annoying. The verses have no oomph to them whatsoever. No one likes this song. I'm not exaggerating when I say that, by the way. Happy Fools is the least streamed song on Spotify off this album. It has about 37 million streams. The next least streamed song has about 90 million. So I was not exaggerating when I said no one likes this song. If you were curious, the song with 90 million is Farewell Neverland. That's our closer. It's actually really nice. It's a sort of like light rock song. The verses are pretty chill, and then it gets a little rockier in the chorus, but it's really good. I really like it. Moving up a song, we have Tinnitus. This is our tropical song on the album, and it's actually really good. It has an amazing beat. It is also Society's golden B-side, if you were wondering. This song has 175 million streams on Spotify. There are mainline TXT titles with substantially less. However, it is not my golden B-side. My golden B-side is our opener, Devil by the Window. This song had me feral. It had me foaming at the mouth when it came out, and also probably like 2 days ago. First, the music is insanely cool. It's dark, it's ominous, it's creepy. And then we get to the pre-chorus, which is just like ethereal. It's gorgeous. Before we go back into the chorus, where it's darker again, and also fucking slaps. I love this song. I really love this song so much. Like, the second verse is so good. The bridge is phenomenal. It's one of TXT's best songs, and like, Society does agree with me, but I feel like it deserves even more love and recognition. Anyway, that's the album. But we're actually not done with music. So about a month after the Name Chapter Temptation came out, we got an OST with Goodbye Now, and this song did surprisingly well. Again, reminder, your average 4th generation boy group, not even average, all of your 4th generation boy groups other than TXT cannot get a song on the Melon charts, okay? Goodbye Now charted for like a month. As for the song itself, it's fine. It's a ballad again, and we've established my thoughts on ballads. I don't like when TXT does ballads. Subin sounds good. That's my one comment on it. Subin sounds good. Good for Subin. Moving into March, we got our next tour when TXT launched the Act Sweet Mirage tour. This tour, a bit diabolical. It started with 2 shows in Seoul at the end of March. April, they just spent touring in Asia pretty much the whole time, and then they went over to the US in May, toured there the whole month. The tour would quiet down in June because TXT was busy in Japan. They dropped 2 digital singles as pre-releases for their upcoming 2nd Japanese studio album, and then in July, they released Sweet. And Sweet sold almost shockingly well. It went number 1, unsurprisingly, but it sold 400,000 copies, earning TXT another double platinum certification. As for the music, the album has 12 total songs. We've already gotten 7 of them. 1 is another version of Ring. There's an intro and an outro, so there are 2 actual new songs. Now, you might have noticed I said there were new songs, and that's because they are technically new songs, in the sense that they're the 2 digital singles they put out before this album, one of which is a Japanese version of Sugar Rush, right? The other is the actual new song. It's called Hydrangea Love. Hydrangea Love is a rock ballad, which brings me back to my thesis statement. TXT can slay a ballad, it just can't be a ballad. However, I will say in this song, Bumgyu and Subin both sound really nice in the like more ballady parts. I actually do kind of want a piano ballad from those 2. I want to see how it would sound. In promotion of the new album, we would get a couple shows in Japan, and then they would drop out Asia for a little bit, but Sweet Mirage is on pause for the time being. Which is so convenient, because it's time for what I have dubbed the TXT weird collaboration era. They did a few of these, and we'll get to them in a second, where they kind of released one-off singles with random artists. The first one, you may have noticed, is the Jonas Brothers. They released Do It Like That. It did get like a special limited edition physical release, which I do have. Do It Like That, though, is a good song. I will say, the music video makes it just so abundantly clear. The Jonas Brothers and TXT have never existed in the same room. Dare I say, they probably never existed in the same building. They definitely were not in the same room filming this music video, but the song itself is good. Like, it's funky, it's catchy, it's cool. I do remember when it came out, I got really sick of it really fast, but I hadn't heard it in a while before I started working on this video, and I'm not sick of it yet. This song also did get a full 4 distinct remixes. They would drop them like every other week for like through August. They're not very good. I don't really enjoy any of them more than the original version. If you make me listen to one, like gun to my head, you're telling me you have to put on a Do It Like That remix, I will put on the Alan Walker one. I think that one's the best one, but none of them are good. However, after all the remixes, we got our second really weird collaboration, which is Back for More, which featured Anita. Do we think she's in the picture? Like, in reality, do we think that she stood in the same room as TXT? I don't. I also have the other physical edition of it. It was another limited release. I actually don't know sales for it. That was the other thing that I forgot to mention before. I don't know how many of these sold because they were limited edition, so like they didn't publicize it really. But either way, we got Back for More on September 15th. Back for More with Anita is good. It's one of those songs, I've talked about this before in like other videos, it's one of those songs that were very much two distinct songs that they smushed together. Because like TXT's part, that's classic dance pop music right there. That's like a disco song, okay? Then Anita comes in and it becomes very Latin and the entire sound changes. It's not bad. I'm just like, I don't know why she's here if we were going to give her what is essentially a different song. However, that was Back for More with Anita. And a few days after that, on the 18th, we got all the remixes. They just did it in one shot this time. You got all your remixes in one go. It was on, I think, a special EP they dropped on streaming. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. We got all the remixes. We did get an awful house remix of the song, but more importantly, we got the TXT version of Back for More. This is just the song without Anita, so we got a different second verse. I do firmly believe the TXT version was what was originally meant to exist, and then they got Anita to like agree to be on a song with TXT, and they were like, okay, we'll put her on this one, and we'll just like add in a verse for her. Because the second verse of the song, A, is sonically more consistent, and B, is excellent. It's fantastic. Like, not only is it good in the context of the song, like, instead of the Anita version, it's amazing regardless. Like, if this was just a random B-side on one of their albums and you played that verse for me, I would start freaking the fuck out. In fact, I did. I did when I first found out that it existed and I heard the second verse. I freaked the fuck out. I listened to the TXT version of this song very consistently. I've heard the Anita version maybe like 10 times max in my entire life. But those weren't real. Those were not our mainline TXT comebacks. And on October 13th, that's what we got. We got their latest studio album, The Name Chapter Freefall. I have 3 versions of it, and I'm not going to display them. Actually, for starters, that's a lie. I have 8 versions. I also have 8 versions of The Name Chapter Temptation. I forgot to mention I have member versions for some of the albums. I'm not going to go get them. Just know that I have them, though. Like, I have so many TXT albums for no damn reason. But here's the reason why I'm not displaying them, okay? I just grabbed one of them. It doesn't matter which one I grab. But here's this album, okay? Here's the size of it. And also, like, look at it. The cover's so boring. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to The Name Chapter Freefall. This is the most boring cover I've ever seen. It's literally a blank background that just says Freefall on it, kind of, and then, like, a swipe of paint and a T or an X or a T, but it's white. This does not deserve to be displayed. Let's start with the single this time. Okay, we're gonna start with Chasing That Feeling. This sounds really good. I like it. Exposure is definitely a factor. My Apple Music loves putting this song on autoplay, and I do listen to it every time because it's good, which makes it put it on autoplay more. Like, this song comes up all the time. This is probably one of my most streamed TXT singles, just because my Apple Music loves to give it to me. But, like, it is good. It's like a low-tempo synth pop song. It's more restrained than their other poppy titles, but, like, it still hits. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, Chasing That Feeling is one of their best singles, and no one appreciates it enough. It's not. It's not one of their, like, top 3 songs, but it's far from their worst. And Society seems to be on the same page as me because, like, this was a moderate hit, I guess I'd say. It peaked at number 52 on the Gaon charts and charted for about a month. Still better than what any other boy group could do, but certainly not best work by TXT. International numbers are a different story. In spite of the fact that I apparently stream this song all the time, the girls do not. This song has about 125 million streams on Spotify. Insane number. A great number for most people. It is also the least streamed TXT single this far in their career, and I'm including in that list both of the random weird one-off collabs that had come out the 2 months prior. The music video's a bit stronger. It has over 100 million views, so like at least there's that. But as a whole, internationally, their biggest failure in years. The domestic numbers keep it from being like an overall complete flop, but it is also not their best work, to say the least. Thankfully, the album actually still sold really, really well. It sold 2.5 million copies in its first week. It closed 2023 as the 7th highest selling album released that year. Its current sales are at about 2.8 million, 2.9 million, so not quite on par with their last album, but by no means a big decline. Same thing internationally. It still went number 1 in Japan and sold 275,000 copies there, their best-selling Korean album in Japan so far. While in the US, it definitely saw the biggest hit, by which I mean it peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and still managed to sell 100,000 copies. But then there's the music on this album. And maybe it's me, maybe it's that I loved the Name Chapter Temptation, but this album doesn't really do it for me. Let's start with the already addressed material, okay? We have Back for More, specifically the TXT version of Back for More, which is feeding into my theory. That's the song that was meant to exist on this album, as well as Do It Like That are both on here. There's also an English version of Chasing That Feeling, which is so wrong in my psyche. Like, there's nothing actually wrong with it. It just sounds so wrong when I listen to it. Now, let's talk about the new songs. First, the opener, Growing Pain. This is hurtful to me. As someone who you may have noticed loves a lot of TXT album openers, Growing Pain is not going to join that list. This song is very loud. It's very rocky. I'm not a fan of it. Blue Spring is also a bit shouty. It might just be that it opens with Kai singing way too loud, but I've never been able to really get into this one. In spite of being a Bumgu production, I can usually fuck with a Bumgu production. I can't do it for this one. Skipping Stones and Happily Ever After are inoffensive, to be sure, but I don't really get anything out of them. They're fine songs. I think Happily Ever After is the stronger of the two, but neither one do much for me. Now for the songs that I actually like, that I actually will go out of my way to listen to. First up, we have Dreamer. This is one of our most vocal TXT songs, and it's really good. I think this is one of their strongest vocal performances in any of their songs. The vocals steal the show in every way. Like, the music is good, but this song puts vocals on center stage, and they're absolutely stunning. The chorus is incredible. I really like the verses. It's a great song. Then we have our golden B-side, Deep Down. This song has an insane beat that I personally am a bit feral for. The chorus is also really good. The verses, a bit excellent. Am I going to say this is the best TXT golden B-side? No. But actually, let me not elaborate on that further. We're going to move on now. However, that was October, and then November was pretty quiet. We got some promotions for the album, and then December we got encore shows for the Sweet Mirage Tour. These sold out almost immediately. And that's 2023. A pretty fantastic year, if I do say so myself. So let's jump back to the retrospective corner. Alrighty, let's talk 2023. 2023 is unique in this video in one key way, which is that this is the first year we've talked about that I didn't already have a timeline for. Like, obviously I've been rewriting this video. This isn't even like I hit save as on the old TXT notes and then started from there. Like, I opened a blank document to begin with, and I've been talking about a lot more stuff, but I'm notesless now. Like, when I made this before, Chasing That Feeling wasn't even out yet. That doesn't mean I don't have things to say about TXT in 2023, though. For starters, this was an incredible year for them. They were one of the biggest boy groups of 2023, and for once, I don't just mean internationally. Sugar Rush Ride was the biggest boy group hit released that year. Not to mention, they more than doubled their cumulative album sales, selling 6 million albums in Korea in just 2023, while internationally, they got a gold album in the US and sold nearly 1 million albums in Japan. The one downside I will say, though, is that we kind of already see the cracks starting to show with Chasing That Feeling. Like, Sugar Rush Ride was huge, and this wasn't like an ASAP era, where like Stacey got big with ASAP and at least put out like a couple of hits before they fell off. This was a crayon pop moment. That feels like an ominous way to end this. So instead of going straight into 2024, I want us to take a moment and talk about producers. Okay. Hi. I want to start this intermission with a controversial stance. I think producers are more important than songwriters. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. And that somewhere is, I want us to take a second and look at TXT albums through the lens of the producers. Okay, TXT is a HYBE group, which means the average TXT song has like 12 songwriters on it. They will have 1 billion songwriters on a 3-minute song. They will have like 12 of them. God only knows how it works. However, they usually, for most of their career at least, only really have one producer, maybe two per song. There are like the big HYBE ones, right? Like there's Slow Rabbit, there's Supreme Boy, there's Each Song of History. Those are like the classic HYBE ones. Then you get like a couple TXT staples, like Sam Klempner usually pops up on one song per album. And then you might get like one or two of the members, but for the most part, you're gonna look at like roughly the same number of producers as songs. Like usually actually even less. Basically, the typical TXT song, like if you pick any random TXT song that we've talked about so far, odds are, of the B-sides at least, it will have one producer and then like 45 songwriters on it. This changes immediately with the name chapter Freefall. If you look at the name chapter Temptation, the name chapter Temptation has 5 songs and 4 producers. The name chapter Freefall has 9 songs, and there are about 20 distinct producers who worked on this album. And the thing is, I think it hurts their music. I just talked about this album, and I think it's TXT's weakest overall, actually. Like, even future albums that we're gonna get, I think this is their weakest album. And I think a big part of that is because we suddenly have way too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, we've always had too many songwriters on the TXT songs, I do believe that. But the production usually stayed a lot more focused. But now as you start adding more and more and more people to it, the songs just kind of start getting more meh. Like, the average TXT song of the albums we've covered prior to the name chapter Freefall, the average TXT song is good, right? Like, your average TXT song, if you hit shuffle on every TXT song from that era, usually you're going to get a good to great song. If you hit shuffle on all the TXT songs that come with the name chapter Freefall and forward, once they start using a lot more producers on every song, the songs just get a lot more meh. And I wanted to give you that warning because we're going to be talking about some albums going forward that I'm a lot less positive about, and I do believe this is why. But with that, let us return to the time. So, this video is cursed. For the record, not only did I have the flu, and I'm, like, still dying. I know I look rough. Okay, like, I know I look rough. You don't have to tell me. I know I look rough. My nose just started bleeding. I went to blow my nose between the ears, because I had, like, a moment of peace, and it started bleeding. Which is just such a great way to start 2024. No, our year actually will start on January 7th, when TXT released the song, Level. It is good. It's in Japanese, it's poppy, it's rocky, I like it. Things, however, did actually quiet down for once, so we're going to jump ahead to April, when TXT return with their 3rd minisode album, Tomorrow. I do have 8 versions again. I've brought out the 3 normal ones to display in this moment. The album was led by the song Deja Vu, and this song did incredibly well. It would peak at number 19 on the Gaon charts, TXT's 2nd song to appear in the top 20, and became their 2nd longest charting song, spending more than a month on the charts. International numbers are also excellent. Deja Vu has 235 million streams. It is their 5th most streamed song overall on Spotify, and it is getting dangerously close to passing Sugar Rush Ride. YouTube numbers are actually a lot lower than you would expect. The music video has about 95 million views, meaning it didn't even clear 100 million. However, as a whole, this was still a massive success. This was huge. This is one of TXT's biggest hits. And the thing is, Deja Vu is so excellent. Like, I get why the girls are feral about it. Hell, I'm feral about it. It feels a lot darker, almost, than more of the recent TXT titles we've been getting. It's also unique in their discography by not just being like a standard synth pop song or drawing from rock as its influence. The chorus also hits so perfectly. TXT loves to do what I call these like explosive choruses where the music will just build and build and build, and then it reaches like that boiling point of the chorus where it just explodes. This song has that in one of its finest forms. It's so good. I do also want to take this moment to highlight the songwriter, Cassiopeia, whose legal name is literally Moa, and she's been writing TXT songs forever. She's a Swedish DJ, and she's been writing TXT songs forever, okay? Like, she's on their debut album. She's one of their most consistent songwriters, and she makes excellent songs, so I'm giving her a shout out here. Turning our focus now to the album, Minisode 3 was an incredibly successful release. For starters, it would earn TXT their 10th #1 album on the Gaon charts. It also sold incredibly well. It sold just under 2 million copies, which is a big drop from their last album, I'm aware. That's nearly 1 million copies less than their last one sold. However, all of album sales took a hit after 2023. Like, this was still the 7th highest selling album of 2024. Internationally, it would go #1 in Japan, sold about 185,000 copies there, so a bit of a drop, but it got a boost in the US, selling about 200,000 here and peaking at #3 on the Billboard 200. Now, let's talk B-sides, and right off the bat, we have more unit songs. Everyone, I dropped my wand. Everyone shut the fuck up. We have more unit songs. First up, we have The Kill It. This is our older member song, so it's Subin and it's Yeonjun. It's tropical R&B that works really well. It's really cool. Their vocals mix perfectly, and the choreography. So I saw this song live, and it is burned into my mind. Our other unit song is Quarter Life. This is our younger three, so it's Taehyun, Kai, and Bumgyu. It's a poppy rock song about turning 25 and the existential crisis that comes along with it. And let's just say, as someone who was freshly 25 when this song came out, I was about 3 months after my 25th birthday, and I have a minor breakdown every January about my age, and it's a pop rock song, it was made for me, okay? I do also like the song. Like, I also think it's a good song. Like, the chorus is not for serious people, but we've established that sometimes you just need a song that's fun, and this song is very fun. I really like the verses. The verses are incredible, and Bumgyu in particular, his vocals shine so well on this song. It's not even kind of funny how good he sounds at the outro. Then we got our full group songs. First up, let's talk about Miracle. This song is good. I like it. I think it's good. It's sort of like standard pop fare with a little bit of rock. So imagine Disney Channel in the 2000s, which is my childhood, so I do really like it. Then, my golden B-side and Society's golden B-side, I'll See You There Tomorrow. The way this song starts out, more restrained, and then just like builds and builds and builds before we get the chorus, where it's still like on the more chill side, but turns into this like excellent, restrained house song. It's so good, plus the verses are incredible. It's so catchy. Like, the girls love this song for a reason, and the reason is that it's excellent. Also, because I learned it, and I'm sharing what I've learned, I'll See You There Tomorrow was produced by the producer Shift Key, and I'm gonna just give you some other songs that they've produced, okay? They have produced Insomnia by Zero Base One, No Problem by Nayeon, Steady by NCT Wish, and of course Whiplash by aespa. I found another goated producer, guys. Everyone get out your checkbooks. Also, around this time is when Yeonjun officially would step down as the MC for Inkigayo. He had a long run, mind you. He did the full 2 years, but he's finally done. He got freed. However, most importantly to me, April also got us the first season of Work Out Down with Bumgyu, and because I'm a deeply deranged individual, I did rewatch the whole thing. Whoever came up with the concept of lispy little twink Choi Bumgyu doing workouts for 90 minutes, I could kiss you. We should have added Subin to the mix, he says in the most unbiased manner ever. Anyway, I'm not going to give you an episode-by-episode breakdown of this show, because I think it would get really, really repetitive really fast, but just know one important thing, which is this episode. The episode where him and Julian Kang went hiking together, mountain of a man that he is. It went a bit viral for very normal reasons, and Bumgyu wasn't born yesterday. Actually, wait, I do have a question. I do have a thought that's coming to me in real time. So we know that in 2024, HYBE was studying the Yaoi statistics, right? Like, we know this. This has been proven. We know that they were paying very close attention to specifically the Yaoi statistics. And suddenly we have a lispy little guy, Choi Bumgyu, traipsing around in a forest with a shirtless giant of a human, Julian Kang. I do actually have some questions. You know what? Let's actually move on before I say something deeply deranged. Okay, so promotions for Deja Vu would run for about 2 weeks or so, maybe 3. And then in May, TXT would launch their next tour with the Act Promise Tour. The tour would start with 3 sold-out shows in Seoul before they would jump over to the US for a whole leg here. However, very, very crucially, on May 14th, 2024, TXT would perform at the Tacoma Dome. And I went. That's where I got this hoodie. This is my TXT hoodie. It doesn't show up well, but like it's not on that arm. It's on this arm where it says Act Promise. I believe there's stuff on the back as well. I could have sworn the cities were somewhere on here. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe I'm thinking of my dream. I think I'm thinking of my dream hoodie. Either way, I went. I made a whole video about it. I'll put it in the description. The synopsis, however, the cliff notes, it was a delight. I had the absolute time of my life at that concert. Not only did I get my hoodie, I got a bunch of freebies. I believe between me and the bestie, we got all 5 members. And if I recall correctly, she like wore all like the little clips and shit like on her person, and then we split them up. I know I have mine in my Music is Subjective mug. If you've ever been wondering what's like coming out of that mug, that's what's in there. It's all the like little freebies with members that I get at concerts. I put them all in that mug. But I had the time of my life. I had a truly delightful experience. I do want them to come back. I will pay hard cash. Anyway, US leg would wrap in June. They would have about 3 weeks off before they began their Japanese leg, which is so convenient because they also released a Japanese album. Yeah, at the start of July, TXT would release HYBE, their 4th Japanese single album. And this thing did diabolically well, okay? It topped charts, which isn't surprising. It sold over 500,000 copies. It is the first TXT release to go triple platinum in Japan. As for the music, we got a Japanese version of Deja Vu, which isn't surprising, but we did actually get 2 whole new songs. We'll go in order. The first one is Will Never Change. It's fine. It's a fine song. I literally have nothing to say about it. Like, it's very aggressively fine. The same cannot be said for the other song. The other song on this album is Kito Zuto, and that song is everything to me. Okay? It is absolute pop rock perfection. The chorus, the music, the verses, all of it is delivering everything I could want. This is my most streamed Japanese TXT song, and it's not even kind of... Actually, it is. It isn't. It isn't. There's one further down the line that I'm forgetting about, but this one's up there. I stream this song all the time. This song is fantastic. It makes me crazy that they put out their best pop rock song, and they just buried it on a random Japanese single album that doesn't even have 10 million streams on Spotify. July also saw TXT resuming their tour. They would do an entire Japanese leg as well as promote the album while they were there. They then did an Asian leg. They were touring in more chunks this time around, like just on and off, but they're touring in chunks through October. However, we know by now, touring doesn't mean nothing's happening, and during their Japanese leg, they dropped another digital single with Open Always Wins. It's fine. I appreciate the vision and the music is pretty good, but as a whole package, it's fine. August was actually pretty quiet, aside from the actual concerts they were doing, but you could tell they would put those gaps in touring to good use, because we got a lot of stuff in September, starting with Yeonjun's first solo release, Boyfriend. This song's actually pretty good, if I do say so myself. It's an OST, obviously, but it's pretty good. Yeonjun apparently can turn his stank down, which is good to know, because it's not really on here that much. And as a whole, this song is giving that, like, euphoric pop energy TXT used to do a lot, and I really like it. Unfortunately, about 2 weeks after that, we got another Yeonjun solo release. We got his official solo debut. We got Gum. Gum is heinously bad. Gum is the worst thing HYBE has done in the 2020s. Gum is one of the worst K-pop songs I've heard in my over a decade as a fan of this genre, okay? This song is awful. Unfortunately, stan culture in the modern day does kind of mean that awful music won't fail if it's by your fave, and Yeonjun has a lot of stans. So this song has over 150 million streams on Spotify. It debuted at number 82 on the digital charts, and even earned Yeonjun a solo music show win. And all of that just makes me sit here and be like, but the song is the worst thing to ever exist. We need to respect ourselves. Wait, actually, while I'm pissing off the Yeonjun fans, the choreography for the song is also shit as fuck, okay? Maybe I'm biased as a Taemin stan, but, like, this choreography is just so, like, it's so show-offy, and not, like, in the Taemin, like, let me show off because I'm that bitch way. It reminds me a lot of when people post clips of Chris Brown dancing, and they're like, this is why he's in the Michael Jackson conversation. This is why Beyonce could never do this. And I'm sitting here like, why would Beyonce want to do this? And also, have you ever seen Michael Jackson dance? Anyone can do that, but no one does it because it looks awful. Now that I've angered the Yeonjun stans, let me appease you all by talking about Gum, the album. Okay, so Gum came with an album. There's an album for Gum. It doesn't have any other songs on it, it's just Gum, but it does have an album. The album did very well. It was like 100,000 copies sold, solo top 10 for Yeonjun, good for him. That's not the point. The point is that it came with this little keychain figurine of Yeonjun, and I do actually like that. I do actually think that's fun. I do actually think that's cute. I do kind of want it, but like, I have self-respect, and I'm not spending my hard-earned money to give anything to Gum. So I won't be buying it, but I do like that. I do like the keychain. I think the keychain is cute. Nothing I just said matters. And you want to know why nothing I just said matters? It's because of this. So while Yeonjun was busy cursing our ears, Beomgyu was busy gracing our screens. Because also in September, we got the second season of Workout Zone, truly redeeming the TXT name with his efforts. Julian does return. Someone at HYBE saw those tweets, and I would like to have a chat with them about it. However, as a whole, Season 2 was not as big as Season 1. The only episode to get over 1 million views is this one, the one with Julian Kang, which, yeah, I could have told you that was going to happen. Also, yes, if you were curious, I did rewatch Season 2 as well as Season 1, because again, I'm a deeply disturbed individual. October was quiet, but November got us our encore shows for Act Promise. They did 3 in Seoul at the start of November and then 2 in Osaka at the end of the month. And I want you to keep these in mind. These were the encore shows. These were the end of the tour, originally. However, you may be wondering, what was TXT up to between those 2 encore shows? And the answer is an album. The answer is they were promoting their latest album, The Star Chapter Sanctuary. I only got a 1 version for this one, because I don't like the other one that I have, and then I have the member version. I have 7 versions of this album, because of course I do, but I got out this one. This is the one I like more. I actually really like this packaging, however, it's not the one that I want. They have a version that has like this fuck-ass keychain. I want it so bad. I see it at K-Pop Nara every time I'm there, except for the fact that it's like $40, and I will not be spending that. Let's do album sales first this time, okay? This album sold incredibly well. More than 1.9 million copies sold, closing the year as the 8th best-selling album of 2024. So pretty on par with what we can expect from TXT. The album did see a bit of a dip in the US. It sold about 100,000 copies here, but it did peak at number 2 on the Billboard 200, so that balances out. But what really balances out are the Japanese sales. This thing went crazy in Japan. It sold 450,000 copies. Then there's the single. The album was led by Over the Moon, and the girls do not fuck with this song. Over the Moon would peak strong on the charts. It would debut at number 22 on the Gone Digital charts. Very impressive, their 3rd highest peaking single. However, it only charted for 2 weeks. The average TXT song has been at least a month. This is their shortest charting run since Good Boy Gone Bad. International numbers aren't much better. The song has about 120 million streams on Spotify, which, again, for a lot of artists, that's very good, that's very strong, that's very impressive. That's roughly the same number of streams as Magic and Cat and Dog. And if I may be so bold, I don't get it. Y'all are crazy. This song is good. This is like a synthy dance pop song. It's actually really cool. Like, the music is almost giving rock with the guitars, but it's not there. I like it a lot. Plus, there's the chorus. I like the stutters in the chorus, controversially. I think they're good. Plus, the second half gives it this, like, euphoric, dreamy pop vibe that I haven't gotten from them in so long, that I love so much. I really like Over the Moon. I think Over the Moon is a great song, and I think you are all wrong. As for the B-sides, we're going to start with the one that scared me the most, which means we're starting with Resist. The opening to the song scared the shit out of me. Okay, it had been a while since I heard it, so like I kind of forgot how it opened, and I might have actually like screamed a little bit in surprise. It's a good song, to be clear, it's a good song. It's like reggae dance, just like be prepared for the opening. Going down to the next song, we have 41 Wings. This one's like R&B, but it's meh. Like, I usually enjoy when TXT does R&B. This one just doesn't do it for me. I like the chorus enough, but the verses just don't have that oomph. Going up now, we have Danger. This one, don't make me explain this, but it's like if Justin Timberlake's Suit and Tie met Deja Vu, like by Beyonce. I can't explain it, but I am correct. Now for the songs that I love. Okay, first up, Higher Than Heaven. Excellent. Fantastic. It feels like serotonin in the form of like a little fun, jaunty pop rock song. I love it. I think it's excellent. Then, our golden B-side, once again, is going to the opener, Heaven. Heaven is a delight, okay? Heaven is just an experience. It's this sort of like chill vibe that just builds and builds through the verses and the pre-chorus before we get a classic TXT chorus. I adore this chorus. I really do. I think it's cute. I think it's sweet. It's catchy. It's the catchiest thing on this album, for sure. It's a delight. I think it's really cute. But that's the album. It's pretty good. But it wasn't long until we got something amazing, because in November, TXT would release Love Story, a cover of Love Story by Taylor Swift. And here's the thing. They took Love Story, a perfectly good song, a classic to be sure, a classic country pop song, and they made it a synth pop song, and it is everything to me. I am actually so unwell about the Love Story TXT version. It makes me climb the walls a little bit. It really does. Like, the way that it opens and you realize that you're getting synth pop, I screamed the first time I heard it. I was losing my mind. Plus, like, they don't change the lyrics at all. You are still the prince and I am still the princess. Like, Troye Sivan, you really are the people's princess. Speaking of Troye Sivan being the people's princess, November also got us Troye Sivan's Yapping Variety Hour. I call it Subin's Yapping Variety Hour. Its official name is Your Faves Faves. It's basically just Subin / other idols come in, yap about their hyperfixation for like 30 minutes, and then go about their day. Subin, I am available for season 3. Anyway, the first episode of this show is essentially a love letter to Kara from Subin. We've talked about how Subin is a Kara stan, and Subin really proves himself in this moment. He goes on monologues about this group, about his experience as a stan of this group. Like, again, Subin, pick the group. I am there. I will pay you to be on season 3. Anyway, as a deeply disturbed individual, I did rewatch the Kara episode. I didn't watch the whole show. I didn't watch the whole show. I'm so sorry. But I did watch the Kara episode, and it's literally just like 20 minutes of Subin yapping about Kara, and then one of the members shows up and he has a minor meltdown. It's fun. There's a reason I call it Subin's Yapping Variety Hour. The rest of the show, unfortunately, has guests. That's why I didn't watch the rest of it. Like, for the Bumgyu show, it's Bumgyu the whole time. Subin brings on guests to talk about their hyperfixations, and I will say, this show was a delight. Okay, I remember watching it, like, as it came out. This show is an absolute gem. I don't know if you could tell from my experiences, from my time on YouTube.com. I do love a hyperfixation and a PowerPoint about a hyperfixation. So, like, this show is right up my alley, and depending on both the guest and topic, you are in for a treat. Also in November, yes, we're still in November. Also in November, Taehyun and Kai released an OST called Can't Stop. It's good. It's chill synthy pop music. I like it. December, however, doesn't have anything of note that I really feel like mentioning, so we're done with 2024. It's been a minute. It's been a long one. Let's go back to the retrospective corner. Alrighty, 2024. Honestly, not a year I have a ton, like, new to say about. Like, yeah, TXT was still popular. Deja Vu was a huge hit. Over the Moon also exists, but it did fine. TXT was still, though, like, one of the biggest boy groups of the year. I do think the music really suffered this year. Like, it doesn't bode well for you when my 2 favorite songs from you released in an entire year where you had multiple albums are a random B-side on your Japanese single album and then a cover you did of an old Taylor Swift song. The real biggest change we see from TXT this year is just a lot more solo stuff. Like, here's what we got this year, okay? It's like the cliff notes. Bumgyu and Subin each released solo shows. Both were very successful. Yeonjun had a solo album also quite successful, even if it's the worst song I've ever heard. Taehyun and Kai had an OST. Like, we got a lot of solo stuff this year. And 2025 will bring even more solo shit to cover, so let's get into it. Alrighty, 2025, our final full year to discuss. But we actually start the year off with an official hiatus. HYBE announced that following the Golden Disc Awards, TXT would be going on a break. They needed to rest. It did not help that Suwon had been put on hiatus for literal medical exhaustion back in November. But yeah, TXT was gonna get a break, technically. Or more accurately, I should say allegedly, because here's the timeline of events, okay? November, Suwon goes on hiatus for medical exhaustion. December, HYBE announces that following the Golden Disc Awards, TXT, as a whole group, is going to go on a hiatus. January 5th, Golden Disc Awards take place. 3 weeks later, TXT gets new tour dates. Yup, if you watched my HYBE video, you may recall that the Fate tour, like HYBE's Fate tour, was essentially 2 tours smushed together. TXT got the same treatment in 2025 as Act Promise got an entire second tour added to it. I do have to assume that this is like a capitalism thing, right? Like, HYBE probably has a bunch of contracts out with people for the Act Promise tour that have rates for the Act Promise tour, and they don't want to renegotiate those. That's my theory. My theory is greed. To be fair, HYBE has never once proved me wrong when I told you that their main motivation was greed. I'm right every time, but either way, that's my guess. But this run of shows was pretty grueling, okay? There were 23 shows in the second section of the Act Promise tour, okay? And I want to give you the timeline of this now. The first one of these shows was in Incheon. It was on March 7th, okay? That's show 1. They had a whole Korean bunch. Then they did an entire European leg. They did a Japanese leg. The tour would wrap, again, 23 shows later on May 25th. That is not even 2.5 months later. For what it's worth, I do remember everyone being upset about this, like the gall of it all. The concept of going publicly and being like, our members are suffering from medical exhaustion, so we're going to give them a break, except not actually, because they probably spent at least half of that time prepping for a tour. So it's just the chutzpah of it all. However, we need to rewind a bit, because as we know, just because TXT is on tour does not mean there's new music. And on March 27th, we got that new music. We got our second solo debut, and it's Bumgyu's turn. That is correct. Bumgyu would drop his solo debut mixtape, Panic. And it did surprisingly well as well. It was a top 10 album in Korea, sold 130,000 copies. It wasn't quite as successful as Yeonjun's, but Yeonjun is also our most popular member. That's like saying that an Astro solo release didn't do as well as Anu's. Like, this was still very successful. The song is also better, in my opinion. It's very rock-inspired. I don't particularly enjoy it all that much, but it doesn't make my ears bleed, so we consider that a win. Moving into April, we got Rise. This is a Japanese OST, and it's great. Great music, great chorus, great vibes. It's great. April got a season 2 of Subin's Faves, and this time it opens in an episode designed for me, which is Bumgyu. Bumgyu comes in to talk about K-dramas. I did rewatch this one. Again, deeply deranged individual. I did rewatch this one. And again, Subin, I am free for season 3. I will do a VIX version. That's my go-to. I would love to make a VIX version for you, but I will do anything you want. May also got us a new single with Love Language. Love Language came in the singular week break TXT had between shows. HYBE, you are comically evil. Love Language also did get a physical release. It is this little thing right here. I would like put it up, but you can't, actually you can see it. You can see it just fine, I guess. It's tiny as the thing. Like, it's tiny as the thing. Maybe, what if, walk with me here. No. Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna hold it. I'll hold it like this. Anyway, Love Language is not a mainline TXT single to me, so I'm not gonna treat it as one, but I do want you to know that it was very successful. Like, this non-mainline single has 85 million streams on Spotify. It debuted at number 59 on the Gong charts. Again, boy groups chart like shit now. That's very successful. Also, more importantly though, the song is excellent. It's giving hyperpop. It's giving their most dancey song since probably their Sugar Rush Ride era, which fits, because just like Sugar Rush Ride, we have a little sexy interlude where this happens. However, speaking of hit TXT singles, about a week after Love Language, we got the OST When the Day Comes for the show Resident Playbook. I'm not going to get into the whole show because I didn't watch it. However, I do know Subin and Yeonjun make cameos as members of HYBE, and everyone was joking that this is what would have happened if they debuted together at CUBE. That's not important though. The point is that as part of the show, as part of their cameo, they released When the Day Comes as an OST. This song didn't do much internationally, and it blew up domestically. Like, this is TXT's second biggest hit in Korea, okay? It would peak at number 18 on the Gaon charts, their third single to peak inside the top 20, and became their second ever highest peaking single on the Melon charts, where it peaked at number 30. It is also their longest charting song. This thing charted for 4 months. It out-charted Sugar Rush Ride. I do think Sugar Rush Ride's a bigger hit overall, because it got that international success as well, but domestically, arguments could be made that this is their biggest domestic hit. And for what it's worth, this song is amazing. This is everything I love from TXT, okay? You start slower, build through the first verse, you slow it down a little bit for the pre-chorus, and then you pop the fuck off in the chorus. And on the topic of this chorus, I love this chorus. I adore this chorus. I think this is one of TXT's strongest choruses. Like, I love this song so much. I made a whole review screaming about it when it came out. I'll put it in the description along with all of my other TXT reviews if you would like to see me crash out a little bit. However, I'm still not done with May because that same month we got Step by Step. This is another OST in Japan, and this is like the exact vibe I would have imagined if you told me TXT did an OST for an anime. Yes, I know. Like, all of TXT's original songs are secretly OSTs for anime, like their Japanese original songs. A good, 60% of them are secretly anime OSTs that I just haven't told you about. However, this is the vibes that I would imagine, right? Like, it's that exact type of J-pop rock, and I do love it dearly. Skipping ahead now to July, Taehyun, as a human, would get a feature on Butterflies by Jake. He featured alongside Taewon from the Seraphim. It's a good song. The music is jazzy, and I think the song is cute. And then, just a few days later, TXT would release their 4th studio album, The Star Chapter Together, along with its lead single, Beautiful Strangers. And Beautiful Strangers is another excellent TXT song. It's more of that, dreamy pop with really good synths. The song opens, and you know you're in for pop excellence. And the song is fantastic, for what it's worth. Although legally, I've learned this. Apparently, officially, this is considered a hip-hop track. No the fuck it's not. No the fuck it's not. It's not. This is a pop song with elements of rock. Please be serious for once in your damn lives. And unfortunately, whilst I really like this song, the public did not. Beautiful Strangers would debut at number 33 on the Gaon charts. Not bad, but it would only spend a single week before dropping out of the top 100. There is the part of me that wants to play devil's advocate and be like, well, When the Day Comes was still charting, so, they had a song on the charts still. But, I feel like that makes it worse. I feel like it actually becomes more embarrassing when I'm like, your OST was a major hit, and you couldn't spend more than a single damn week in the top 100. This is their shortest charting run in years. International numbers are a bit stronger, but nothing crazy. The song has 115 million streams on Spotify. That does make it their lowest streamed mainline single, but it's a year younger than Over the Moon, and it's almost at it. I'm sure it's gonna pass it at some point. As a whole, though, it's really not looking good for TXT. Keep in mind, TXT had put out massive international hits. They had a string of massive international hits, and they haven't put one out in about 2 years now. So it's not looking good. Their non-mainline material was doing surprisingly well, but they hadn't gotten a mainline hit in a bit longer than I'm comfortable with. But for now, I want to talk about album sales, because even while TXT's singles were kind of flopping, this was still another really strong seller. Sales saw a slight boost domestically. It pulled in about 2.1 million, so that's pretty good. Plus, it would become the 5th highest selling album of 2025, TXT's first time in the top 5 of the year-end Gaon album charts. International numbers, meanwhile, are about on par with their last album. US sales took a little bit of a hit, but it was still number 3 on the Billboard 200. And in Japan, it sold just as well as their last one, aka 450,000 copies sold, certified double platinum. Now for the B-sides. This album would contain solos from all the members, and I'm going to get to them in a second, but we're going to start with the group songs. First, the album's opener, Upside Down Kiss. I will concede, this is another song that is not for serious people. Real bitches do not like this song, but bitches who like fun do, and I'm a bitch who likes fun. Like, is the chorus actually good? No. Does it make me chuckle? Yes, so it's in the album music. The other group song is the album's closer, Song of the Stars. This is a rock ballad, and it feels perfectly designed to be the closer to a concert, which is probably why they closed their next concert with. Now for the solos. Because my biases at this point are absolutely clear for anyone with half a brain cell to see, we're going to start with Bum You. Bum You's solo song is Take My Half. It's nice. It's another rock-inspired song, but it's a lot softer. It's almost another rock ballad, and I do like this one a lot more. I really like that he gets to flex his vocals. I'm going to be so real. He gets to flex his vocals, which he doesn't get to do a lot, and I like that. Let's do Taehyun's next, because Taehyun's is next. Taehyun's is Bird of Night. This song is pretty good. It's a pop ballad, which is very main vocal behavior of him when they give them solos like this. Unfortunately, it's also kind of boring. Also very main vocal behavior of him. We've done 2 of our 3 youngest, so let's do Kai's next. Kai's is Dance With You. This song is sexy, and I like it. It has like a nice Latin flair. The chorus is good. It's a sexy song from Mr. Kai. If you like that, you'll like this. Okay, let's do Youngju's next. I will say, in spite of my deep-seated psychological and emotional hatred for Gum, I actually really like Ghost Girl. I do. I think it works really well for him. It's like a tropical R&B song. It works really well for his voice. It was also produced by Youngblood, apparently, which fits. I feel like they have similar vibes. Is that evil, actually? I don't know the Youngblood lore. I know nothing about Youngblood. They just kind of remind me of each other. I heard that man speak for 10 seconds at, like, the Grammys or something, and I was like, they feel like they have similar energies. Don't cancel me if that's me. Then we have our golden B-side, Subin's Sunday Driver. Subin, I expect your solo album on my desk by the end of this year. It's just, this song is excellent, okay? It's that light, dreamy pop vibe that we've already established I'm feral about, and Subin's voice works so well with. Plus, the chorus is just an absolute delight. Like, this song is fun, this song is cute. Subin, I expect your solo album with haste. Anyway, in promotion of the album, TXT would embark on the Act Tomorrow tour, their latest world tour. It began in August with 2 shows in Seoul. September was spent pretty much entirely in the US performing here, before we got a break for October. And what does TXT do when they have month-long breaks in their concert tours? That is correct, everyone. They drop albums, and on October 20th, TXT released their 3rd Japanese studio album, Star-Kissed. This album did sell well. Like, it went number 1, it sold 300,000 copies. But I find that interesting because, like, their last 2 Korean albums sold, like, 450,000 copies. So I feel a little worried that their Japanese official release took a hit like this, but at the same time, it sold as well as their last Japanese full. So I'm gonna delude myself into thinking everything's fine. As for the songs, there were 12 songs on this album, but once you pull out stuff we already heard, Japanese versions of Korean songs, we basically got 3 new actual songs. The first one is Sending Secret Signals. It's good. It's kind of darker, but I think it works well. I definitely would like it more, if not for the other new songs on this album. Speaking of, the next song is Where Did You Go? This one's fun. It's bright, it's poppy, I really like it. And then we have the album's lead single, Can't Stop. So, that's one of TXT's best songs in their entire discography, and I'm dead fucking serious. The music is insane. It's giving, like, classic disco pop, plus it has diabolical synths, and the chorus is just sheer pop perfection. If you're someone who's like me, admittedly, and you just kind of don't fuck with Japanese releases, give this one a shot. I promise you will not be disappointed. However, that's actually not the only album we got during this gap in touring, because just about a week later, Yeonjun released his first mini album, No Labels Part 1. This album was a major success. It became our first TXT-related work to spend multiple weeks at #1 on the Gaon album charts and sold 750,000 copies in Korea. On top of that, it peaked in the top 3 of the Japanese chart, selling 50,000 copies there, and even earned Yeonjun a top 10 album on the Billboard 200. But that's the album as a commercial product, and as an album, it's not very good. I'm not running through all the songs, and you can't make me. I'm just gonna tell you it like this, okay? There's no gum level of awful on this album, but there's not a single song on here you need to listen to more than once. If you forced me, again, like gun to my head, you're like, you have to listen to one song off of Yeonjun's first mini album, I'd probably put on his collaboration with Danielle, but like, that song on its best day is pretty good. Anyway, following promotions for Yeonjun's album, TXT went back on tour, they did a Japanese leg, and then that's it for the year. So for the final time in this video, we're going back to the retrospective corner. So I'm conflicted about 2025. Let's start with the obvious. TXT in 2025 looks like they're being punished. It really looks like, okay, for those of you who have a job, when you go on vacation, you still have to come back and catch up on all the work you missed. That's what TXT's hiatus feels like. It feels like HYBE said, you can have a month off, but you are still going to have to get done the exact same amount of stuff you would have had to get done otherwise. But on the topic of what they did do, can we talk about music for a second? We got some amazing music from TXT in 2025. Like the trio of Love Language, When the Day Comes, and Can't Stop each took over as like the best song we've gotten from TXT in years, except for the fact that they all kind of flopped. To be fair, everything post Sugar Rush Ride had been like a slow but steady decline for TXT. The cracks had started to show, and that's fair. By 2025, they'd been one of the leading boy groups for about 5 years. No one's reign can last forever, but the general public was not fucking with TXT at this point. The real sole exception is their OST, which yes, was a big hit domestically, but didn't do well internationally, and as far as international numbers go, these are some of the worst numbers we've seen from TXT, at least by their standards. The problem is, this kind of reminds me of when I was making like my secret video or my Miss A video. Like, TXT might still be slipping, but they're still slipping from like the top. Right, like TXT has had an album in the top 10 of the year-end album charts for the past 4 years. They're still one of the biggest boy groups. They're still very popular. They're just less popular. One thing that I do actually find really interesting though is that like TXT's whole thing is that they made like a brighter, more dance pop music in an era when big boy groups were not doing that. Right, like most big 4th gen boy groups were not making dance pop music. And then 5th gen starts, dance pop music gets really big again, and that's when TXT starts slipping. Like, I think it's interesting that the other big groups that could get songs on the Melon charts during this time was Dream, and Dream also started slipping once 5th gen started. I don't know, I'm a freak. I think it's interesting. Now let's get back to the timeline. Alrighty, welcome to current year 2026. Now we don't have a lot to discuss, but we don't have nothing. The main thing, however, is simply touring. TXT went back on tour in January. They officially, or more accurately, technically finished on February 14th, but like, they haven't done encore shows yet, and I feel like they are going to. So my instinct is they'll announce those either in like the next few days, or after promotions for their next album. But that brings us to our other thing, an album. If I timed this right, today, on day of posting, TXT has just released 7th Year, A Moment of Stillness in Thorns. This is the most Hunger Games album title I've ever seen in my damn life. Now, obviously, the album isn't out yet. Like, I'm recording this before the album's out, so I don't know what the album's gonna sound like. I'm really scared it's gonna be bad, guys. That's my controversial stance. I'm really scared it's gonna be bad. But for now, I'm going to choose to be optimistic. However, that's all I got, which means this has officially been the history of TXT. The History of Tomorrow by Together. I'll full name them this one time. This has been the History of Tomorrow by Together. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I assume most of you didn't. However, thank you so much. This has been so fun. This has been an absolute delight. This has been an absolute pleasure and joy to make. I entered such a fugue state when I was writing these notes. Like, I would start writing, and the next thing you know, I've written 15 pages. I've gone on monologues about the Blue Hour album. I've gone on tirades about my favorite songs, and I had the time of my life doing it. I had the absolute time of my life doing it. Like, this entire series of mine has essentially just become Simon's Yapping Variety Hour. This is my excuse to hyperfixate on a group and scream about them for, in this case, more than an hour or so, but usually like 90-ish minutes. This one got a little out of hand. But in general, I have the time of my life making these. I do. I really do. I know I always joke in my videos that, like, I don't get paid for this channel. And, like, I don't. This is truly a labor of love, because I love just getting to sit down and talk for hours at a time, and I relieve the bestie. Okay? This is really a gift for the bestie as well, because I don't bother her as much when I have outlets for my hyperfixations. But I do want to say, like, thank you for watching. If you did like this, you can like and subscribe. You don't have to. Again, I don't make any money from this channel. I do it for the love of the yapping game. But other than that, okay, what am I going to put in the description? There's going to be a lot down there. I will put all of my TXT reviews. I'll put them all down there. I will put the video I made about TXT's concert. I believe I only made one. I might have made two. I might have ranked the set list before going. If I did, I'll put that down there as well. It's been like 2 years. I don't remember. But on top of that, I will also put my first history of TXT, like the one I made in 2023. I will put that down there. I believe Do It Like That was out when I made that video. It was out, because they dropped like the physical release the day that I posted it or the day that I recorded it or something. But it's through Do It Like That. So it's a lot shorter also. I think it's like an hour long. It's not this. It's not this. If you want like a bird's eye view of TXT's career through the first couple of years, then go watch that video. I do not get as in-depth about literally anything. But I feel like length is part of the game at this point. So either way, you can check that out if you so choose. Check out all of that if you so choose. And yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye!